Well, it is baseball time again, and we're ready to go. At the plate for the Orioles is Mark Belanger. Belanger yesterday in the Orioles' 10-6 triumph had one base hit in 4 trips and batted in the number 8 spot. He had an infield hit in the 4th inning that preceded Cuellar's grand slam home run. Here is a ball 1-2 high from the left-handed Tommy Hall. Now, to set the Minnesota defense in your mind's eye, if you're with us radio-wise this afternoon, the third baseman is Renick, the shortstop is Cardinis, the second baseman Thompson, and the first baseman is Killebrew. Hall's 1-0 pitch to Belanger, high, ball 2. The Minnesota outfield against Mark Belanger, Allier left field, Tovar in center, and Oliva in right field. Oliva is giving Belanger a whole lot of the foul line down in right field, and this is not customary. Most outfields play Belanger a lot more to the right field side. 2-0, high, ball 3. 3-0 to Belanger. Well, yesterday's game, Perry came on and walked Buford to start the ball game. Young Tommy Hall is now behind the leadoff hitter Mark Belanger. 3 balls, no strikes. The slender left-hander's 3-0. A strike is called. 3 balls and a strike. Behind Belanger will come Paul Blair, who made 2 stunning defensive plays for the Orioles yesterday. Hall to the wind. The skinny left-hander's pitch is a ball 4 down low, and the Orioles start game 2 as they started game 1 with a base on balls to their leadoff batter. Belanger reaches as Hall walks the batter. Hall in 155 and a third innings this year walked only 66 while striking out 184. Now the batter, Paul Blair. He was collared in 5 trips at the plate yesterday, but more than made up for that with 2 spectacular defensive plays in center field. The pitch to Blair. It's low inside, ball 1. Time is called at the mat as Leo Cardinis, more or less the captain of the Minnesota infield, moves in from shortstop and says a couple of brief words to Tom Hall. Killebrew is holding with a base runner. Mark Belanger at first base. And now the 1-0 pitch to right-hand swinging Blair is high, ball 2. And now Mitterwald calls time. And here comes manager Bill Rigney racing out, requesting time from both the first base umpire and the plate. And he would like a word with Tommy Hall. He stopped rather abruptly with an unusual kind of a look toward Hall up on the mound. And now Mr. Rigney, who is and now here comes Earl Weaver out to talk to Haller, the plate umpire. I think Weaver's approach to Haller is to determine if this is to be a charged visit to the manager, Bill Rigney. You are allowed but 1. The second trip you make in the inning, your pitcher is out of the game. Other than if there is a physical problem, then you might be given an exemption. And Weaver wanted to be sure that it was a charged visit to Rigney. 2 balls, no strikes to Paul Blair. Belanger at first with nobody out. Hall, the left-hander, sets and throws. Blair looks, strike is called. 2-1 to Paul Blair. Renick at third, Cardinis short, Thompson second, and Killebrew first compose the Minnesota infield as Hall is ready. The 2-1 to Blair. Swing and a foul to the screen. And the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tommy Hall, 0-2 lifetime against the Orioles, and that lifetime record is 1970's record. Two balls, 2 strikes. Hall is ready to go, looks to first, throws, check swing foul behind the plate. Belanger did not get the bat out of the way of a low inside pitch. So the count continues 2-2. Billy Hunter does the coaching down the third base side for the Orioles, and George Stoller down the first base way. Jim Fry runs the bullpen for the Orioles, and George Bamberger is the Orioles' fine pitching coach in the dugout with manager Weaver. 2-2 to Blair. High, ball 3, full count. Well, the Big Red Machine, as the Cincinnati Reds have been dubbed this year, and they have been kind of stumbling along the last few weeks of the baseball season, apparently, as the saying goes, got it going again or put it together. 3-1 Blair, ball 4, high and outside, back-to-back walks. Belanger to second base, Blair to first base, A pair of walks issued by the Minnesota starter Tom Hall, and to the plate now comes Frank Robinson. He went 1 for 4 yesterday afternoon. But it was the spark that ignited the Orioles to a 7-run, 7-hit fourth inning when he opened that fourth with a single to right field. Frank Robinson, who stands just about right on top of the plate, works diligently at hitting to the opposite field because so seldom do pitchers give him anything in over the inner half of the plate. The pitch to Frank Robinson. Swing, and he didn't get it. Strike one. So Frank is not strictly an overpowering type of a hitter. Given his pitch, naturally he will go with it. But he is a very heady sort of a batsman and will try to work with the pitcher and take whatever the pitcher gives him. If it means it has to go to right field, it'll go to right field. Pitch. There's a fly ball well hit deep in the alley, right center field. Tovar coming to the glove side. Oliva is coming over. Oliva makes the catch. Belanger tags, racing to third. Throw coming down. He is safe at third base. And Oliva laid a beautiful throw to Renick at third, but Belanger, with nobody out, had tagged at second base. And the minute Oliva made the catch, Belanger went racing down to third, and Oliva's throw was just perfect, if seconds or a split second late. Blair is holding at first base. Frank Robinson retired, and the fly ball in the alley in right center, caught by Oliva, and now Boog Powell. Boog went 2 for 5 yesterday, and one of the good signs to Oriole fans is the fact that the big man, not once but twice, hit the ball to the left field side. And normally, when Powell is hitting well, he hits the ball frequently that way. Runners at first and third with 1 out. Hall, the left-hander, to left-hand swinging Powell. Long drive, deep right field against the wind. Oliva going back on the warning track, back up against the wall. He dropped it. He didn't make the catch. Here comes Belanger in with the first run. On his way to third goes Blair, and Powell is in with a double. Oliva went back against the fence 358 feet away. It was over his head. He did seem to me to touch the ball, but it did not stick in the glove. It bounced off. He may not have touched it. It might have just hit the fence and caromed in front of him. Out on the outfield grass, it allowed Belanger to score the first run of the ball game for the Orioles. Blair, waiting to see whether the ball is caught, then broke for third and made it, and Powell, going all the way, is in with a double and a run batted in, and the Orioles have a 1-0 lead as Merv Rettenmund stands in against Tommy Hall. With runners second and third and 1 out, the twin infield is played up halfway now, all the way around. The pitch to Rettenmund, high, ball 1, and nearly a wild pitch. Rettenmund is a very important part of something that Earl Weaver has always given a tremendous amount of credit, his bench. And Earl is extremely proud of those fellows who wait in the wings, and they have responded with great performances this year. The pitch, ball, outside, 2 balls, no strikes to Rettenmund. Blair third, Powell second. Boog hit a fly ball. Had it not been for the wind that is blowing in over the right field wall today, it definitely would have been a home run. But it hit off the 8-foot screen in the right field corner, good for 2 bases and a run batted in. Hall's 2-0 to Rettenmund. A check swing ground ball is foul down the first base side, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. One to nothing Baltimore. On a 1-out double by Boog Powell, plating Belanger from third base. Blair is now at third. Powell, of course, second. 2 balls and a strike to Merv Rettenmund, and Tom Hall throws. Swing and a miss. Hall, who is 6 feet and about, they say, 144, 45 pounds, very slender, but is rather quick. I think the ball players would say he's sneaky quick. 2-2 now, the count to Merv Rettenmund, right-hand hitting Oriole left fielder. Hit .322 on the year and knocked in 58 runs for Baltimore. And here is Hall's 2-2 pitch to Rettenmund. Inside low and almost another wild pitch, so the count now is 3-2. And Tom Hall has picked up another full count. He's walked a pair. He got Frank Robinson the fly ball to right field, and then Powell doubled. And it's 1-0, and Hall bearing down on Merv Rettenmund. Here's the payoff 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 is called, inside corner at the knee. Rettenmund is called out on strikes, and Mr. Hall has picked up a huge strikeout for the Minnesota Twins in the top of the inning, and time. Now here's Rigney coming out, and he wants to talk to the plate umpire. Bill Haller, and I think Haller is telling him, Mr. Rigney, if you do, that's visit number 2, and Mr. Hall is out of there. Now Rigney is coming over to the box seat and is talking to some gentleman, Joe Cronin, who is sitting down here in a box seat near the Minnesota Twin dugout, and now Rigney has gone to the mound. And let's see what it's all about. But this is Rigney's second visit to the mound, and it should mean that he's taking his pitcher out of the game. But apparently that rule may have been waived in the playoff games. I'm not certain of that. But Haller went to American League President Joe Cronin, and obviously that rule has been waived. So he can go out there as often as he wants, apparently, and this is news to me. But plate umpire Haller immediately went to the boss, Joe Cronin, and said, well, is it or isn't it? Here is Brooks Robinson. Pitch. Ground ball sharply hit at Renick at third. He knocks it down, recovers, throws to first base in time to get Brooks in a fine defensive play. But at the end of a half inning of play, the score is Baltimore 1, and of course, Minnesota coming to bat.
A few years ago, about the only way to heat a home was with a fireplace. But a lot has happened since that time. Home design and construction have changed drastically. Today, you want more than just reflected heat from a fireplace. You want comfort all around. An oil comfort system can give you this through the total control of the environment in which you live. And if you think that total environmental control is something out of the future, you're right. But it's here today, and it doesn't cost so much that you can't enjoy it. So see one of the comfort people, your local oil dealer. He can do more for you than just help you plan your home. He can help you plan the environment that goes in it. And what could be more important than that? Oil comforts people.
Oil Heat Association of Maryland.
Well, on the mound now to face the free-swinging and hard-hitting Minnesota Twins in the bottom of the first inning is another Baltimore 24-game winner, Dave McNally. On the year, 24 victories and 9 defeats, 296 innings of pitching to a 3.22 ERA. Against the Minnesota Twins this season, McNally shows a record of 2 victories and 1 defeat. Of 3 starts against the Twins this year, he was able to complete but 1 ball game, beating them 11-1. Here is Tovar, and a bunt is foul behind the plate. Strike 1 to Cesar. Little Cesar Tovar, the trigger man of the Minnesota potent offense, went 2 for 5 yesterday. Lifetime against the Minnesota Twins, Dave McNally shows 8 victories and 5 defeats. 1 strike the count to the right-hand batting Tovar. McNally's pitch, ground ball, glove side of the shortstop Belanger. He's got it. The throw to first, 1 out. Tovar retired on a sharply hit ground ball to the shortstop. And speaking of the shortstop, here is the Twins' very able shortstop, Leo Cardinis. Leo was hitless yesterday in 4 trips to the plate. But he is the man that molded the Minnesota infield. The Twins were having all sorts of problems for quite a few years with shortstops. And Mr. Cardinis came along and just has done an outstanding job. McNally's pitch is a curve, way outside, and a ball 1. Now, the Baltimore infield has Brooks Robinson third, Belanger short, Dave Johnson second base, Boog Powell at first. The outfield of Rettenmund in left, Blair in center, and Frank Robinson in right. Pitch, high fly ball, left field way. Coming on the left fielder, back to shortstop. The left fielder, Rettenmund, continues and makes the catch, and that will be the second out of the inning. Cardinis gone on a towering fly ball to left fielder Rettenmund, who came in rather shallow to make the play. There has never been a more celebrated Twin than the man at the plate, Harmon Killebrew. And yesterday he went 2 for 5 and hit, can we say, a prodigious home run? It was measured at 437 feet straight away to center field. McNally's pitch is a ball low and inside to Killebrew. 1-0 to Killebrew, 2 out and nobody on. We're in the bottom of the first, Baltimore 1, Minnesota nothing. McNally working again. There's a long drive down the left field side. It's looking toward the foul pole. It is a foul ball. It was deep enough to have been a home run, but it was hooking, and that wind, again, blowing from right field across the left field line, also helped carry the ball foul. 1 ball, 1 strike to Killebrew. With 2 out and nobody on, and the Orioles 1-0. A pair of walks in the opening inning by Minnesota starter Tommy Hall proved very costly indeed. The 1-1, high and outside to Killebrew. 2 balls and 1 strike. Killebrew, more than any other Minnesota Twin, really hammered the Oriole pitchers this year as Minnesota bested the Orioles in a 12-game series, winning 7, dropping 5. The 2-1 to Killebrew. It's a foul-tipped strike. He checked his swing, and the ball ticked the bat foul into the middle of the catcher, Echebarren, and the count is 2-2. Plate umpire Haller was very quick and very explicit with his acknowledgement and the information that it was not a check swing, but that it was a foul tip. The ball just nicked the bat. In other words, Harmon, had the ball not touched the bat, would not have been guilty of the swing. Now the 2-2 pitch to Killebrew. McNally ready. The left-hander throws. Curved him. Ground ball foul down the third base side, and the count will continue at 2-2. Only in 2 of 12 games this year were the Oriole pitchers able to shut out Harmon Killebrew. And the 2-2 offering to Killebrew. Ball outside, 3-2 now. Full count to Harmon with 2 away and nobody on in the last half of the first inning. And as people are continually tuning in, we'll remind you again, Baltimore scored a run in the top of the first and lead 1-0. The 3-2 pitch to Killebrew. Ball 4 is high. McNally gets up the walk, and that'll bring on one of the most dangerous hitters in all of baseball, the Minnesota Twin right fielder, Tony Oliva. The best that Oliva could do yesterday, 3 hits in 4 trips. And when Dick Hall came on yesterday and pitched a brilliant 4 2/3 innings of relief ball to win for the Orioles, this is the man who had the only Twin base hit. Two out in the inning. Killebrew, the runner at first, and Powell has moved in and is holding with the runner against the left-hand swings of Oliva. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Good, hard breaking pitch from McNally. The Oriole infield really cut around to the first base side, but yet Powell is holding with Killebrew, and that does help to open up the first base side of the infield to the left-hand swings of Oliva. And Oliva, extremely dangerous, hits the ball very sharply all of the time and to all fields. McNally's 1-strike offering, fouled away, out of play, 2 strikes. And 2, the count to Tony Oliva. Killebrew leading first with 2 down. McNally sets and fires. Fly ball, right field way. Frank Robinson coming up on it. Should make the play without difficulty. Settling under it, Frank waits. He's got it. And that's the final out at the end of 1 inning of play. Baltimore 1, Minnesota 0. Well, our guest on the brief visit that plate umpire Haller made to American League President Joe Cronin at the request of manager Bill Rigney, our guess was that they had waived the rule pertaining to the number of visits a manager can make to the mound. And that is the case. And this is the first time we have heard about it. It's been waived for the playoffs and waived for the World Series. Well, Dave Johnson is the batter. He went 1 for 3 yesterday. Right-handed swinger, and Tommy Hall throws. Curved strike, outside corner of the letters. So for the playoffs and the World Series, the manager can make as many visits as he chooses. The 1-strike pitch, High to Johnson, a ball and a strike. We'll have a station break for you up and down the network as soon as we see how Dave Johnson is going to fare against the swift, lithe left-hander, Tommy Hall. Time ready to go. The 1-1 to Dave Johnson is low inside, another breaking pitch. George Mitterwald doing the receiving, and what a fine ball game Mitterwald had in a losing cause yesterday with 3 base hits and a flawless performance behind the plate. Hall is ready with his 2-1 offering to second baseman Johnson. Ground ball hit third base way. Renick makes a fine grab behind the bag. The long throw to Killebrews got him. Johnson gone on a ground ball to third, and as advertised, we pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
Fred Snyder here with a word to the ladies. Don't miss Jack Lacey, 10 to 2, Monday through Saturday, featured on Radio 11, WBAL in Baltimore.
With 1 out and nobody on, here is Andy Etchebarren making his first appearance of the 1970 Championship Series, right-handed swinger, and a strike is called to Etchebarren. Andy hit .243 in the regular season. Now a swing and a miss and 2 strikes to Etchebarren. 0-2, the count to Andy. Along with a .243 average, Etchebarren had 10 doubles, a triple, and 4 home runs and 28 runs batted in. So now Tommy Hall is out ahead of the hitter, 0-2, and the left-hander's pitch is a strike 3 call. He bumps a good fastball right over the plate, knee-high in the outer portion, and picks up strikeout number 2. They have both been looking or called third strike. And now pitcher Dave McNally. McNally at the plate in the 1970 season hit for an average of 133. And he had a few extra base hits. 6 of them were doubles, 1 a home run, and 6 runs batted in. He is a right-handed hitter, is McNally, and a strike is called. The 1 strike offering to pitcher Dave McNally with 2 out and nobody on. Hall strides and fires. Strike 2 called, another breaking ball to McNally. So the young man may have been, and understandably so, in his playoff debut here this afternoon, just a little tight, a little tense, nervous, and he'd hardly be a good competitor if he weren't. The 2 strike offering to McNally is low inside and a ball, 1-2. And he seems now to be pitching in the manner in which, he is accustomed to, and the manner in which we have seen him work over the past year. The 1-2 to McNally. Strike 3 called. Inside corner for knees. McNally is out on strikes. 3 up and 3 down at the end of an inning and a half. Baltimore 1, Minnesota nothing. As the Twins come on against Dave McNally, in the last half of the second inning, it'll be Brant Allier, George Mitterwald, and Rick Renick in that order. Allier, strong right-handed batsman. McNally's curve is low inside, ball 1. Allier yesterday did not hit in 3 official at-bats. The Orioles play him to pull the ball. Left fielder Retman straight away and deep. Swing and a foul behind the plate. The center fielder Blair favoring the alley in deep left center, and Frank Robinson extremely wide, well off the line toward the alley in right center field. Infield is pulled a little bit around to third. McNally wants another baseball with a count 1-1. It's immediately flipped out by plate umpire Bill Haller. And the 1-1 offering to Allier, curve, strike 2 call. McNally, the possessor of a fine curve, a good slider, a good fastball, and he has had success with a straight change. Here, the 1-2 offering. Curve outside, 2-2. A glorious, bright, comfortable Sunday afternoon in Bloomington, Minnesota. And Game 2 of the 1970 American League Championship Series. Swing and a miss, and Allier is out. Strikeout number 1 for Dave McNally. And the batter now will be George Mitterwald, who had 3 hits in 4 trips yesterday for the Minnesota Twins. And he looks to be the fellow that would equal and perhaps outdo the fine performances of the Twins' once great catcher, Earl Batty. The pitch to Mitterwald is high and outside, ball one. George is a right-handed batsman. One ball, no strikes to George Mitterwald with one out and nobody on. McNally rocks over the rubber and deals the breaking pitch a bit low. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0. Here's a high pop-up, and it's off the first base side of the infield. Boog Powell is calling for it. The wind rides it around. He stays with it and makes the catch. Mitterwald retired in a towering pop-up off the first base side. From our broadcast booth, which is beautifully located at mezzanine level at the Met, almost directly behind the plate, there is an overhang from the third deck that cuts off all of the extremely high pop-ups and the high fly ball to the outfield. So when it leaves the bat, you have to play the infielder or the outfielder in order to figure out which way it is going, right field or left field. With 2 out and nobody on, here is Rick Renick for the Minnesota Twins in his first appearance. A swing and a foul ball up the screen. Renick for the Twins hit .229 in the season with 8 doubles and 7 home runs and 25 runs batted in. The 1 strike offering to this right-handed swinger, fastball, but it was low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 offering to Renick. McNally delivers high pop-up, and Dave Johnson is giving the first sign for it. The Orioles second baseman on the outfield grass behind second squeezes it for the final out, and the Twins are 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 2 innings, Baltimore 1, Minnesota nothing. We go now to the Oriole half of the third inning at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. And for his second turn to the plate now comes leadoff hitter Mark Belanger. He walked in the first inning. Blair followed with another walk. Belanger took second. When Frank Robinson flied deep to right field, Belanger took third. And then when Powell doubled, Belanger scored the only run of the game. And that's where we are as we go to the top of the third. And Tommy Hall ready to go. The left-hander delivers. Strike call. A good, quick breaking pitch outside corner at the letters. And Hall seems now to have found his groove. And that would indicate it could be a difficult afternoon for Baltimore. The 1-strike pitch coming to Belanger. Line drive, center field, up on the ball. Tovar still moving. It's sinking, and Tovar didn't get it. It falls in front of him, and he rushes in and makes the grab. It caromed off his glove and rolled in front of him. Belanger is held at first base with a single. A sinking line drive. Tovar was coming very hard, but also he had to exercise a bit of caution. Had he not been able to block the ball, or at least slow it up, it could have rolled beyond him, and in this huge center field, 430 feet straight away, and Belanger's speed, that could have been quite harmful to the Twins' cause. Here is Paul Blair, the pitch. Too high to Blair. As we mentioned a moment ago, a first-inning walk. Killebrew is holding with a base runner Belanger at first base, who gets not a great lead against the left-handed Tommy Hall. The set by Hall, the pitch. Breaking pitch in, strike called. 1 ball, 1 strike to Paul Blair. The 1-1 offering, no, a quick throw to first. Back safely Belanger under the watchful eye of the first base umpire, Jim Odom. 1-1 is the count to Paul Blair. Belanger with about a 3-step lead at first base. Hall sets at the belt, and the left-hander's pitch to Blair, high, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, after this afternoon's second game, this championship series will move to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, continuing there for as long as is necessary to determine a winner. The 2-1 offering. Line drive, caught by Renick at third base. Oh, what a beautiful glove hand stab by Renick. Just a great, great play with marvelous reflexes from third baseman Rick Renick. And Oriole fans who have watched the brilliance of Brooks Robinson over the years, having seen this play, it certainly would do credit to even a Brooks Robinson. It was just an outstanding one-handed grab by third baseman Renick. Now Frank Robinson at the plate with one out, and Belanger at first. The pitch to Frank, fly ball, well hit, deep left field. It's going to go. Home run, Frank Robinson, and the Orioles have 2 more runs. The leader, Oriole right fielder Frank Robinson, was ready as he always is and unloads with his first home run of the 1970 Championship Series. And the Orioles now take a 3-0 lead over the Minnesota Twins. Belanger scores run number 2. Frank Robinson scores run number 3. His first home run in the playoff series, his 26th home run of 1970. And now here is Boog Powell with one out and nobody on. A Frank Robinson home run has made it 3-0. Hall throws. Powell takes high, right over his head. Ball 1. The 1-0 to the waiting Powell. Swing and a foul to the screen, and Powell had a very good cut at that pitch from southpaw Tom Hall. 1 ball, 1 strike. They measure Frank Robinson's home run at 400 feet in the lower deck in the left field grandstand. Hall ready once more. Here is his 1-1 offering to Powell. Strike 2 is called. And we know that there are many of Boog's faithful fans, not only in Baltimore, but particularly in southern Florida, rooting for the big man this afternoon. And all afternoons, the 1-2 pitch coming to Powell, fouled away, out of play. He doubled in the first inning to knock in the Orioles' first run. We're very happy to have another citizen of southern Florida with us, Mr. Jay Spencer of the Miami News, who is here on special assignment, being hired by the Baltimore Orioles to shoot pictures of this playoff series. Now the 1-2 pitch to Powell, outside and low, ball 2. Jay has done a lot of that work for the Orioles in spring training, and now when the Orioles got to the playoff series or the championship series, he was again hired for his outstanding photographic efforts, along with fellows like Vince Greco from Baltimore and Jerry Watchert from Baltimore, all here covering pictorially. The 2-2 to Powell, foul to the screen. We mention their names because in your daily coverage of baseball, those on the air and on television, you hear their names and see them, and the newspaper man's name appears in print. And sometimes the unsung hero is the photographer who does such outstanding work year long, and we felt that they should be mentioned. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to the batter, Powell. Hall throws, high inside, and a full count now to the Oriole first baseman. Three-2 to Powell. He struck him out. A swing and a miss on a breaking pitch, and Powell is strikeout number 4 for the young Minnesota left-hander Tom Hall. And this is his first swinging strikeout. And here is his first strikeout victim in the first inning, Merv Rettenmund, who was called out on strikes. 2 out now, but 2 runs are in on the Frank Robinson home run as Hall delivers Rettenmund a check swing, line drive foul ball down the first base side and off the box seat railing. We have been told the weather in Baltimore is just fine this afternoon, and all of us hope that it will continue in that fashion for the days necessary to complete the 1970 Championship Series. 1 strike pitch coming down to Rettenmund. High, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The games in Baltimore will start at 1 o'clock in Memorial Stadium. 1 o'clock Eastern Time. A ball and a strike is the count to Merv Rettenmund as Hall brings the arm down with a pitch that is again high and is now 2-1. And repeating, of course, that the dispute between umpires and the American and National League has been settled, and the umpires are back on the job. The 2-1 offering coming to Merv Rettenmund. Hall steps and throws over everything but the screen behind the plate. A ball 3. Mitterwald went up for it, couldn't get it. Now time is called, and it could be the pitch that was thrown. And here comes Mr. Rigney again. He's got his bullpen going. A couple of right-handers. Let's see if we can pick them up for you. They're Louis Tiant and Billy Zepp are the right-handers in the Twin bullpen. Thank you. And the thank you is directed toward our outstanding audio man, Mr. Ken Kimball. Rigney is on the scene again and now is trotting back to the dugout. The count, 3 balls, 1 strike to Rettenmund, and Hall ready to go. The wind and the pitch. Ball 4 outside, and here is another walk issued by Tommy Hall. 3 in the ball game for Hall. The batter will be Brooks Robinson, who had a beautiful afternoon yesterday, 3 for 3. And in his first trip to the plate this afternoon, hit a shot to the third baseman Renick, who made a very fine play to retiring. Not the kind of a play, however, you'd compare with the Renick grab of the Blair line drive. Pitch to Brooks, high pop-up. It's behind the plate. Coming toward the screen is Mitterwald, and I don't know whether he'll make a play or not. We'll have to watch for the outs, the umpire, and the sign is safe, and therefore he could not get to the ball. He was out of our line of sight by the time he got to the box seat railing. 1 strike to Brooks. The 1-strike pitch coming to Brooks Robinson with Merv Rettenmund at first base and 2 out and 2 runs in. Here in the top half of the third inning, Baltimore 3, Minnesota nothing. Hall works, he's low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Tiant and Zepp are working in the Minnesota bullpen. Both right-handers. The 1-1 offering to Brooks. Low, ball 2, 2-1. It is our understanding, and this, of course, could be subject to change overnight, that the first game in Baltimore, tomorrow afternoon, will be pitched by the Orioles' Jim Palmer, and the Twins, I believe, will pitch their outstanding young rookie right-hander, Bert Blyleven. 2-1 to Brooks. High pop-up. First base side foul ground. Mitterwald may have a play in foul ground. The Twins catcher is there and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. But the Orioles pick up 2 runs and 2 hits, and at the end of 2.5, Baltimore 3 and Minnesota nothing.
For the Twins, batting number 5, second baseman Danny Thompson.
Well, the Minnesota Twins come on against Dave McNally in the last half of the third inning with their second baseman Danny Thompson, pitcher Tom Hall, and top of the order Cesar Tovar. Thompson had 1 hit and 3 trips yesterday. McNally's first offering to this right-handed batter is bunted down the third base side foul. Strike 1. Thompson had the great misfortune yesterday of being the middleman of a double play and throwing the ball away at first base and gave the Orioles their first 2 runs. He came back with a double in the alley in right center field and played flawlessly thereafter, contributing some outstanding defensive plays. Now the 1-strike offering to the right-hand swinging Thompson. He is considered a much better glove man than hitter. McNally throws low, ball 1, 1-1. The Orioles, 3 runs and 3 hits. And Minnesota hitless through the first 2 innings. The only runner reached on a walk. Pitch. Ground ball, glove side of the shortstop, Belanger. He's there. The throw to Powell at first, 1 out. Thompson gone on a ground ball to the shortstop, pitcher Tommy Hall. Sheds the jacket and will head for the dish. As a batsman over the year, Hall hit for an average of 182, and he is credited with 1 run batted in. Swing and a miss. Strike 1 as McNally blew the fastball by Tommy Hall. And the 1-strike pitch. Curve, but it's outside. A ball and a strike to Tom Hall. Here's the 1-1. Strike 2 is called. Hall took the stride and cocked the bat and then decided, well, I'm going to let it go by, and it was a strike. Well, there are some fine seats available for the playoff series against the Twins in Baltimore. 1-2 pitch coming down to Hall. It's cut on and missed, and McNally notches his second strikeout. 2 out in the inning. Top of the order, Tovar. Against McNally in the first inning, he grounded to the shortstop, Belanger. And the W2 advance sale ticket window will be open tomorrow morning at 9:30 for your convenience. Open this afternoon if you're in the area. Here is Cesar Tovar, one of the tougher outs in baseball. McNally's pitch to Cesar, high, ball 1. For the Orioles tomorrow afternoon in Baltimore, it'll be Jim Palmer. 1-0 pitch to Tovar. Swing ground ball third base way Brooks Robinson has. Now he throws to first baseman Powell. It is in time. It was doubtful because the ball got up on the very top of the glove, and Brooks had to dig twice to get it out of the glove before he made the throw. And the Twins 3 up, 3 down. At the end of 3, Baltimore 3, Minnesota nothing. In Game 2 of the 1970 American League Championship Series, we head to the top of the 4th inning with the Orioles facing the Twins' Tom Hall. Second baseman Dave Johnson will be the leadoff hitter in this top of the 4th. He'll be followed by catcher Andy Etchebarren and pitcher Dave McNally. Twins give Johnson the foul lines both down left and right field, and they kind of jam up the outfield. Pitch to Dave is too low, ball 1, in an effort to plug up the power alleys in both right and left center. Infield is just about straight off against Johnson, who had a very fine year for the Orioles this season. The 1-0 pitch to Dave, swinging a high fly, right field way. Oliva is coming up on it. The wind is driving it away from him. He's still moving. Oliva makes the catch, and that retires Dave Johnson. 1 gone in the Oriole half of the 4th inning, and now Andy Etchebarren. He was called out on strikes in his first look at Tom Hall in the 2nd inning. The very talented Minnesota first baseman, Rich Reese, again aggravated a pulled hamstring muscle in the right leg yesterday and is not able to see service this afternoon. So Killebrew has moved to first base, and Renick has gone into third. The pitch coming to Etchebarren, a check swing and a ball down low. Well, a year ago, when the Orioles and the Twins met in a like series, and they opened in Baltimore, 1-0 pitch to Etchebarren. Ground ball, high hopper overhead of the pitcher, charging Cardinis. He's got it. The throw to first is wild, and it's into the box seats behind first base. Cardinis came charging for the slow but high-hopping ground ball over the pitcher's head. He got to it, the gloved hand on the right side of the body, then had to make a cross-the-body snap throw to first and threw it right by Killebrew into the box seat. It is ruled an infield base hit for Etchebarren, and then he will take second base on a throwing error charged to Leo Cardinis. And Dave McNally will step in. I was about to say that a year ago when these teams met, the first 2 games of the playoffs were just as great as baseball games ever get to be. Such was not the case in yesterday afternoon's victory that the Orioles enjoyed 10-6 over Minnesota. Pitch. Foul ball coming out of play behind the plate. Strike 1. Well, some good-looking young man, I think with his dad, in the front row of the boxes in the mezzanine level here, just stood up and made a fine one-handed grab of that foul ball. 1 strike, the count to Dave McNally. Hall ready to work. Here's his pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 strikes to McNally. Both of the games in Baltimore last year were extra inning affairs, and they were just as tight and as tense and as taut as baseball gets. And the Orioles were fortunate enough to win both of them, and then won a laugher for the 3rd game and made it a sweep here in Minnesota. The 2-strike offering to McNally. Line drive, base hit, left field, coming hard as Etchebarren toward third. They give him the green light. Etchebarren around third, coming home. Throw coming on is going to be cut off, and the Orioles have a 4-0 lead as Dave McNally, the pitcher, has singled to left field and scored Etchebarren. And on that base hit, we will step out for a station break. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
Harley here, suggesting you start your day the way thousands do. Here, William Shriver, critic at large, 8:15 mornings on Radio 11, WBAL, Baltimore.
Pitcher Dave McNally has just singled to left field to plate the Orioles' fourth run, and it's Baltimore 4 and Minnesota nothing, and the Twin bullpen is active once again, and it looks like it's Billy Zepp out there now, and he is all alone. Belanger, the batter, with one out, and McNally at first. Hall delivers a strike over the outside portion of the letters. It is Billy Zepp in the Minnesota Twin bullpen. Right back, this pitch, swing, and he didn't get it. 2 strikes to Mark Belanger, who walked in the first inning and hit a sinking line drive that fell in front of Tovar in center field for a base hit. And both times that Belanger has reached this afternoon, he has scored. The 2-strike pitch to Mark as Hall is in the driver's seat now. The kick and the pitch. Line drive, alley, right center field. Tovar will not get to it. It bounces almost over his head. McNally is on his way to third, and Belanger is held to a single. Boy, only Tovar's great speed kept that ball from going right through to the wall in right center field. It took a bad hop and almost went right over Tovar's head. But he made a good leaping grab to cut it off. McNally stops at third base as Belanger has his second hit of the ball game. And manager Bill Rigney is making his 4th appearance. And we'll wait to see whether or not this will be to change pitchers or whether it'll be for another consultation, because the rule pertaining to managers' visits to the mound has been waived. He can get out there as often as he wants, apparently. But now the sign has gone to the bullpen. So we will have a new pitcher. And while the new pitcher makes his way to the mound, let's pause for a minute.
You know, Unitas has already gained 325 yards today. He needs only 11 more to break the old record of 335, set way back in 1937 by Sandy
This is
Ball.
Johnny Unitas. Ever wonder how announcers can have the right statistics ready every time? It's because they use the official National Football League record book. Up to now, this book was available only to the pros. It can tell you almost anything you want to know about pro football. Individual and team records, plus a special section on the Super Bowl. Now, this book is being offered exclusively by DuPont. Here's how to get your copy.
You can get the 384-page official National Football League record book for only 50 cents with purchase of DuPont Lucite paint. And now is a good time to repaint with new Lucite wall paint. Whatever Lucite covers wet will stay covered after it's dry. You get the job done and still have time for fun. Check the yellow pages for the Lucite retailer nearest you. Participating retailers have full details on this book offer, and right now they're having a special sale on Lucite Work Skipper paints.
Well, for the second straight day, the Orioles have driven the starting pitcher from the mound. So Tom Hall, in his start this afternoon against Baltimore, has worked a stint of 3 1/3 innings. The Orioles have touched him for 6 base hits, including 4 singles, a double by Powell, and a 2-run home run by Frank Robinson. He walked a total of 3 and struck out 4, and now gives the game over to Billy Zepp. Zepp, in yesterday's opening game here at Minnesota, pitched 2/3 of 1 inning. He allowed only 1 base hit. He didn't walk a batter. He struck out 2, and he was charged with one of the Orioles' runs in run number 7. And it was a home run by Boog Powell. Billy Zepp, on the year, this young right-hander for the Minnesota Twins, worked in a total of 43 games, winning 9 and losing 4. He twirled 151 innings, did Bill Zepp, to an earned run of 3.22. And against the Baltimore Orioles, let's take a look and see what Zepp's record was during the year. He didn't figure in a decision, no wins, no losses. He did pitch 15 innings, allowed 16 hits, walked 5, struck out 6, pitched to an earned run of 3.60, and made 2 starts against the Orioles. Billy Zepp, right-hander, Oriole runners, 1st and 3rd, 1 out, Blair the batter. The set by the right-handed Zepp on the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And the 1-strike pitch to the waiting Blair. Zepp throws. Blair swings. High fly ball. Shallow right center. Oliva and Tovar converging. It'll be Oliva. Oliva coming on. Makes the catch. McNally starting home. And here comes the throw. And McNally is going to be out by about 10 feet. Well, the Orioles, with a 4-0 lead, could afford that gamble. And make Oliva comes on with a perfect throw to the plate. Oliva was equal to the challenge. And his throw was right on the money to catcher Mitterwald, who tagged McNally for the double play. And at the end of 3 1/2, it's Baltimore 4 and Minnesota nothing.
When you're burning up energy like me, Brooks Robinson, take time out of your busy schedule for a milk break. I know for a fact how much extra vitality and stamina it takes for all the everyday activities. And nothing supplies that energy like a cold, refreshing glass of milk, nature's most nearly perfect food. It makes no difference what sport you're participating in, baseball, track, tennis, or a day at the beach. For that extra lift you need over the hot summer months, take time out for a vitality drink that gives you a big lift every time. Pause for a milk break. Take it from me, Brooks Robinson. Milk supplies that energy burst you need. At our house, milk is on the table for every meal, and at snack times, too. Remember, milk keeps you going and growing. This message has been brought to you by the Maryland Cooperative Milk Producers, suppliers of quality milk to the Baltimore area dairy since 1918.
Baltimore 4, the Minnesota Twins nothing, and this game now moves to the last half of the 4th inning. And it'll be Leo Cardinis, Harmon Killebrew, Tony Oliva in that order. And again, a very brief word about the gamble that the Orioles took. With a 4-0 lead, Oliva caught the fly ball off the bat of Blair, not very deep in the alley in right center field. And it was a calculated risk. With a 4-0 lead, you can take that kind of a risk. And it was just a challenge to Oliva that you've got to make the perfect throw in order to get the double play. And Oliva did exactly that, made a perfect throw to Mitterwald. And McNally was, to say the least, a dead duck. Now here is Cardinis with a ball inside. Cardinis in the first inning against Dave McNally skied to left fielder Merv Rettenmund. Right back, a ball 2 is high to Cardinis. 2 balls and no strikes. If you are not familiar with this ballpark at Bloomington, Minnesota, it is quite honestly a hitter's ballpark. The 2-0 pitch to Cardinis. A crouching Cardinis takes a ball 3 up high, and he was very, very low, but McNally's pitch was up. 3 balls and no strikes now to Leo Cardinis, and McNally way behind the Minnesota shortstop and right-handed swinger. 3-0 pitch. Strike over the outside corner at the letters. 3-1 to Cardinis with a quick look now to his third base coach Cressetti to figure whether he's hitting or taking on the 3-1. McNally ready to work. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4 is inside. Cardinis on with a walk. McNally's second walk of the ball game. The Harmon Killebrew, and Bill Haller has been requested to take a look at the baseball. Has done so and throws it out of the ball game. And from the Mets, you hear the enthusiastic charge of the Minnesota Twin fans. Leading first is Cardinis. McNally sets at the belt, throws to Killebrew high. Ball 1. Time. Echebarren now out to talk a little bit with Dave McNally. A repeat for some who may have missed the fact that the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds played Game 2 at Three Rivers Stadium this afternoon. The Cincinnati Reds made it 2 victories in a row with a 3-1 triumph this afternoon. The 1-0 pitch coming to Killebrew. Right, outside corner of the letters. 1 ball, 1 strike. base runner Cardinis at first base. McNally flashes a quick look that way. Now delivers 1-1 to Killebrew. High ball 2, 2-1. That appeared to be an off-speed pitch, kind of a let-up from McNally. The Killebrew shift is in effect. There are 3 Oriole infielders between second and third. Cardinis bounces out to a good lead. McNally throws, swing and a foul. Right on the screen, and the count is 2-2. McNally with a 2-2 pitch to Harmon Killebrew. The look to first, the pitch to the plate. Ground ball, third base way. It is a foul ball grabbed by Brooks Robinson. The throw to second, out and on to first base. It could have been a double play, but it was a foul ball. It was a foul ball. The umpire at second base, Jerry Neudecker, taking absolutely no chances, just went right in and called the play as Brooks, also not taking any chances, made the grab in foul ground and recovered quickly enough to get a throw to second base, and Neudecker went right along with it, but the foul call was up immediately where we could see from third base umpire Jim Honachek. Of course, Brooks Robinson had no way of seeing it. The count is 2-2 to Killebrew. Cardinis has a very good lead at first. Now he shortens it. The set by McNally. The pitch to Killebrew is a ball low inside. 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The count for the batter, Harmon Killebrew. Powell holds with Cardinis. Again, he's got a pretty good lead over there. McNally sets the 3-2 pitch to Killebrew. A long drive left field. Forget it. It's going to be a Killebrew home run. Done so often over the 70 campaigns. A walk to Cardinis, and boom, a swing of the bat from Killebrew, and 2 runs are in. It is Baltimore 4, Minnesota 2, and the batter now is Tony Oliva. They measure the Killebrew home run at 376 feet, the second home run in this series. And the pitch coming to Tony Oliva. High fly ball, deep left. Redmond is going back. The wind is driving it. He's at the fence. It's going to go. Home run, Oliva. Well, this is the Twins' style of play. And this is what they do as well as any team in baseball. There have been some very trite expressions to describe it. The Twins seldom, if ever, play inside baseball. They play outside baseball. By that, the home run ball. A 2-run clout by Killebrew. A solo clout by Oliva. And just like that, the Twins are smack dab in the middle of the game, trailing by 1 run. Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. Nobody out, and the batter will be Grant Allier. Pitching coach Bamberger has visited the mound, and McNally has yet to get a man here in the bottom of the 4th. A ball is too high to Allier. And this crowd at the Met, which appears to be a little better than yesterday's crowd of 26,847, loving every moment of it. 1-0. Strike outside corner of the letters to Allier. Marcelino Lopez and Dave Leonard are throwing in the Oriole bullpen. Looks like it might be Louis Tiant in the Twin bullpen. The 1-1 to Allier. High pop-up. Dave Johnson, second baseman, calling for it. And on the skin of the infield, he makes the grab, and that is the first out of the inning. Allier gone on a pop-up to the second baseman, Johnson. Here's a strike call to George Mitterwald. Mitterwald in the second inning popped to the first baseman, Boog Powell. Right back, the 1-strike pitch, swing and a miss, 2 strikes to Mitterwald. Two-strike offering coming down to George Mitterwald. Inside of the ball, 1-2. The right-hander in the Twin bullpen turns out now to be Stan Williams. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the pitch. High, ball 2. And as we mentioned, it's Leonard, the right-hander, Lopez, the southpaw, in the Orioles bullpen. Well, the Orioles have squandered a 4-0 lead. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Mitterwald is strikeout number 3 for Dave McNally, the second out of the inning. And Rick Renick is the new batter. Renick went out in a pop-up to second baseman Johnson in the second inning. McNally ready to go. The left-handed pitch to Renick, too low in a ball. And the 1-0 pitch coming down to Renick. McNally delivers, curve outside, 2 balls, no strike. Two out, but 3 runs in for the Twins, and the 2-0 to swing ground ball third base way foul. 2-1 now to Renick. McNally's move, his 2-1 to right-hand swinging Renick. High fly ball down the first base side and foul ground. Powell chasing toward the box seat railing, but it's going to be out of play. Back in maybe 6 or 8 rows. So the count continues 2 balls, 2 strikes to Rick Renick. Armin Killebrew ignited the Twin rally with his second home run of the 70 championship series, and all told, his 43rd of the 70 season. And the 2-2 pitch coming to Renick. Curve, high and away, ball 3. Full count to Renick. McNally with a big pitch to the Twin third baseman. Throws, struck him out. Swing and a miss. Renick goes down. Strikeout number 4. The Twins with 3 runs and 2 hits. And at the end of 4 innings, Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. In the Oriole half of the 5th inning, Frank Robinson, Boog Powell, Merv Rettenmund against the right-handed Billy Zepp. Frank Robinson flied to right and then hit a 2-run home run for the Orioles in the 3rd inning. Zepp, the Twin reliever, in relief of starter Tommy Hall, stares to Mitterwald for the sign and his first offering to Frank Robinson. Breaking pitch outside, ball 1. And there is no activity in the bullpen now, either in the part of the Twins or the Orioles, as we move to the top of the 5th. The rocking Zepp with a 1-0 strike. A good breaking ball. 1-1. And the 1-1 offering to Frank. High pop-up, it's foul. It may be out of play. Coming back to give it a look, it's Mitterwald. It is out of play. 1-2. Now the 1-2 to Frank Robinson, way outside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. What a glorious Sunday afternoon here in the Twin City area. 2-2 pitch to Frank Robinson. Curved him again outside. 3-2. So Zepp now has a tough pitch to make to Oriole right fielder Frank Robinson. And behind Frank, Boog Powell. Behind Powell, Rettenmund. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4, low and outside. Frank started a swing and held back on it. A walk by Zepp, and this for Billy will be his first walk of the ball game. All told, Twin pitchers have issued 4 passes to Oriole batters this afternoon. And here is Boog Powell. He doubled off the starter Paul in the first inning and then struck out in the third. Frank Robinson with a pretty good lead. Killebrew is not holding with the runner. He's playing a step behind the bag at first base. The pitch to Powell, a change-up breaking ball, low inside, ball 1. Killebrew just bird-dogging Frank just a little bit, about a step or 2 behind the bag. Frank, the all-around player, outstanding base runner. Now the 1-0 pitch coming to Boog Powell. Zepp kicks and fires. Ground ball hit off the third base side. In the hole. Base hit to left field. Frank Robinson is down to second base. Almost fell down, and he'll hold at second base. Frank Robinson, with the play in front of him, was using his judgment, and one of the things that he would do to left fielder Brant Allier would be to just suddenly seem to open up in a spurt as if he were going to try to go to third, and the hope is that Allier would get anxious about it and maybe misplay the ball. But Allier calmly played it perfectly, and Frank holds at second base. Powell is on at first base with his second hit of the afternoon and his 4th base hit of the series. And the batter will be Merv Rettenmund. Rettenmund looked at a third strike and walked in 2 previous turns. Zepp, the right-hander, throws. Rettenmund squares to bunt, takes the ball outside. Nobody out. Oriole runners Frank Robinson second, Boog Powell first. The bunt in order on the first pitch as Rettenmund gave every indication of the bunt. See if it is still in order on pitch number 2. And now right-handers are throwing again in the Minnesota Twin bullpen. The set by Zepp and the 1-0 pitch coming to Merv Rettenmund. Strike is called, no indication of the bunt. Lewis Tiant, Stan Williams are the right-handers in the Twin bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rettenmund. And the pitch, outside and low, ball 2. Only the very strong wind over the right field wall has held Powell without a home run this afternoon. He hit one in the first inning that without that wind would have gone. Now the 2-1 pitch to the waiting Merv Rettenmund. Billy Zepp, the right-hander, throws. Swing and a foul tip into the mid of Mitterwald, and the count now is 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're on the top of the 5th inning, and yesterday was a nervous, kind of a scary affair if you were an Oriole fan. And this afternoon is no exception. It is again a 1-run ball game. Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. Nobody out, top of the 5th. Frank second, Boog Powell first. And now the 2-2 to Merv Rettenmund. Zepp throws, curved him outside, full count, 3-2. Now you can feel a little uneasy stirring in the spectators here at the Met. The inning opened with a walk to Frank, then Boog Powell hitting through the hole on the third base side, single to left field. Frank stopping at second. And the 3-2 pitch is due Merv Rettenmund. Zepp sets, holding the set, kicks and throws. Foul ball to the screen. The crowd reaction, it's, I don't know what it is about this ballpark, but from the upper level, you can be so fooled on swings at the plate, particularly the foul ball. It looks as though it's hit right out, in the infield sometimes, when in truth it is a foul ball to the screen. 3-2 the count. Cardinis bothering Frank Robinson at second base. The stretch, the set. And the 3-2 to Rettenmund. Ball 4. Bases are loaded. Frank Robinson to third. Boog Powell to second. Rettenmund to first. Brooks Robinson to the plate. Bill Rigney to the mound. My recollection, this will be number 5 in the tour department for Bill Rigney. The bases are loaded with nobody out, and Rigney very slowly now strolling to the mound, and he has not, to the best of my knowledge, given any sign to the bullpen yet. If in truth he intends to. Now talking to Mitterwald. Now here goes the sign to the bullpen. And he wants the right-hander, either Tiant or Stan Williams. So Zepp is leaving the ball game. And from the bullpen will come pitcher number 3. So Billy Zepp has pitched 2/3 of 1 inning, plus 3 men in the 5th inning. He has allowed but 1 Oriole base hit, has walked 2 batters, has not recorded a strikeout, and is not charged with a run, but the men on base are his responsibility. Zepp to the sideline, and from out of the Minnesota Twin bullpen will come Stan Williams, I believe. It will be Williams, and Williams was in here in relief yesterday afternoon in Minnesota, and he pitched 3 very tough innings of relief ball for the Twins. Allowed the Orioles only 2 base hits. He walked a batter. He struck out a batter. He was not charged with a run. And here he is for the 2nd day in a row. Williams is the kind of a reliever, however, that can work day after day. He is big and strong and very willing, is Stan Williams. His dimensions, 6'5", 227 pounds. Years ago, and it's been a few years ago, people in this area would remember that he was the strikeout king of the American Association with the old St. Paul Saints. Williams came into the American League when the Dodgers traded him to the New York Yankees for first baseman Bill Skowron in 1962. Subsequently, he was sold by the Yankees to the Indians in 1965, and arm trouble laid him low for a couple of years when he worked in the Pacific Coast League, but the wing came around in 67, and we mentioned this story yesterday, that he, with arm miseries, was just, had made up his mind that, well, I cannot be an effective pitcher with this problem in my arm, and I'm either going to have to make up my mind that I'll be a pitcher or I will seek other employment. And though his arm was hurting, and he could not pitch effectively, when warming up before a game one night in the Pacific Coast League, he decided, well, we're going to find out right now. And I would think it would take a lot of courage for an athlete to do this. He just deliberately cranked up and let it go as hard as he could throw it, you know, the heck with the pain. And as he did so, he heard something pop in his shoulder, and after that, his arm miseries disappeared. And he then again became the effective pitcher that he was before. And here he is now, in relief with the bases loaded and nobody out. Williams, in his heyday with the Dodgers, was the kind of a pitcher you would expect a 6'5", 230-pound right-hander to be. Big, hard throwing, blow the ball right by you. Today, he carefully spots the fastball and depends more on off-speed and breaking pitches and being very careful with the fastball. He still can throw it by you on occasion. The batter, Brooks Robinson, the bases are loaded. Williams' first pitch to Brooks, outside in the ball. Again, it was a breaking pitch. We owe you a station break. We'll try to get it at the earliest opportunity and the most convenient. But a bases-loaded, none-out situation is not the time to go elsewhere. Now the 1-0 pitch to Brooks. Robinson this afternoon is grounded to third and fouled out to the catcher. He is 0 for 2. Yesterday went 3 for 3. The wind by Williams, the 1-0 pitch. Sidearm pitch is hit high in the air. It's right around the plate, apparently, and everybody is coming in for it. Mitterwald stays with it and makes the catch in foul territory right behind the plate. So Brooks Robinson fouls out to the catcher Mitterwald, and we will now pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Ken Jackson. Jesse Webster's urban reports are timely, informative, sometimes provocative. Evenings on WBAL in Baltimore.
Stan Williams has picked up the very important first out. And now has Dave Johnson to contend with. The bases are loaded. The twin infield is played off at double play depth. Williams looking down to Mitterwald, who just now is down to pump up the sign for Big Stan. Here's the wind by the right-hander, the pitch to Dave Johnson, swinging a fly ball out into right field, not very deep. Coming in is Oliva. Oliva still coming almost to the infield. Oliva's there, makes the catch. Frank Robinson, false start. The throw coming home, holds him at third base. Oliva's throw, the Orioles had no chance of getting Frank in. The fly ball to right field, up against the wind, blowing it back toward the infield. The lever caught it hardly 10 yards off the skin of the infield. Frank bluffed to start, but held. With a score 4-3, the situation is quite another thing than it was when it was 4-0, and they could gamble on a play with McNally trying to come in. So Johnson, with the bases Williams with the bases loaded, has retired Brooks Robinson on a foul pop, Dave Johnson on a little bit of a lazy fly to shallow right, and now has Etchebarren at the plate with 2 away. Etchebarren has looked at a third strike and reached on an infield single, took second on a throwing error, and scored the Orioles' 4th run on a Dave McNally single. Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3, top of the 5th, 2 out, bases loaded. Williams works to Etchebarren. Strike, inside corner at the hand. And Etchebarren had a word to say to Haller. Yesterday, in the 9 innings the Orioles and the Twins played, with a makeshift crew of umpires, not one word of discontent was expressed by either club. Now the 1-strike pitch. Williams to the move, and the pitch to Etchebarren. Curve, fly ball, foul, left field side, out of play. 2 strikes to Etchebarren. And he beat to Haller. He felt that he did not commit himself in the swing, and Haller acknowledged that fact immediately. He said, "You're right, but it ticked the bat foul." And that is the end of the argument. 2 strikes. And this is the kind of a situation that relief pitchers kind of enjoy, the extreme, the best challenge, the biggest challenge. And this is why you have the relief specialists in baseball, such as Stan Williams, Ron Perinoski of the Twins, Rickard Watt of the Orioles, Dick Hall, and so many, many others. 2-strike pitch to Etchebarren. Williams throws, sidearm fastball. He struck him out. Swing and a miss. Etchebarren goes down, and what a great relief stint from twin right-hander Stan Williams, and a standing ovation for him. At the end of 4 1/2, Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3.
I know of a zebra named Yaffle who drank Colt 45 from a bottle. He took a big pull, then roared like a bull, and his stripes went all horizontal.
Colt 45, Colt 45, Colt Liquor, a completely unique experience. Colt 45, Colt Liquor.
In the dull and commonplace occurrences of day-to-day living, one thing stands out as a completely unique experience. Colt 45 malt liquor. Shall we give it a try?
A completely unique experience. Colt 45 malt liquor.
National Brewing Company, Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is John Gordon. Here on the radio side is Chuck Thompson, has moved to TV for the final half of our American League Championship Series game between the Minnesota Twins and the Baltimore Orioles. Game number 2, and it's 4-3 as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. A great relief pitching job by Stan Williams. Snuffs an Oriole rally in the 5th inning as he comes in with the bases loaded and nobody out and retires Brooks Robinson, Dave Johnson, and Andy Etchebarren without a runner advancing. Now McNally, the leadoff hitter. Danny Thompson inside for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. So the Birds, with what they thought was an excellent chance to move ahead and increase the 4-3 lead, now find themselves still with just a 1-run margin over the Twins in the bottom of the 5th inning. The pitch to Thompson, a ground ball to third, 1 hop to Brooks. Across to Boog to retire the leadoff batter. Thompson is out, and here is Stan Williams now, and I'm sure he'll get a fine round of applause from the Minnesota Twins audience here after that great relief job. Well, the final totals on Zapp, 2/3 of an inning. He walked 2, didn't strike out anybody, gave up 1 hit, and he was not charged with any runs. 1 ball and no strikes. The count to Stan Williams, a right-handed hitter. As McNally works in the 5th inning, Dave has gone all the way. Cesar Tovar will be next. Here's the 1-0 to Williams. Low for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. The Birds with the early lead, 1-0, 3-0, and 4-0. With the Twins coming up with a pair of home runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. To come within a run, it's now 4-3. After this game today, we move on to Baltimore. Here's the strike called, and it is 2 balls and 1 strike. Ready, McNally, the 2-1, low, 3 balls and a strike. Tovar to bat next. McNally did not give up a hit until the 4th inning. He walked 2 prior to the home run by Harmon Killebrew. That was the first safety of the game for the Minnesota Twins. One of the 2 walks was to Cardinis just before Killebrew batted. Strike 2 and a cut and a miss. Payoff pitch coming at 3 balls and 2 strikes now to Stan Williams. Jim Palmer against Bert Blyleven tomorrow in the 3rd game of the best 3 out of 5 series. 3-2 offering. Ball 4 high. Williams has drawn a walk. Now that's the 3rd walk by McNally in the game. Tovar, who was hitless in 2 trips today, will be the batter. That pitch didn't miss by much, just above the letters to Stan Williams. Twins trying to get back into the series. They do not want to go to Baltimore, of course, down 2 games to none. They are trailing at the moment 4-3 here in this game after losing yesterday's opener 10-6 to Dick Hall and the Orioles. The stretch and a pitch. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. The Orioles have 7 hits in the game. The Twins have but 2. And the pitch, 2-0. High, and McNally having problems now trying to find the strike zone is behind Tovar at 2 balls and no strikes. Very short confab with Andy Etchebarren, the Birds catcher, and Dave McNally. Now we're ready at a 2-0 delivery. The set and the delivery. Line drive. Pass Belanger and a hit to center field. Williams will stop at second base, and the Twins have their 3rd hit of the game, the single by Cesar Tovar. Tovar has singled past Belanger's glove on the left side of second base. And we have Dave Leonard and Marcelino Lopez loosening up in the Baltimore bullpen once again. Second time in the game that pair has been up. Leo Cardinis will be the batter. He walked and flied out to left fielder Merv Redmond. Williams, the lead runner at second base. 1 out here in the Minnesota 5th inning. And now Cardinis is going to the on-deck circle to get some more of the pine tar towel, putting it both on the bat and on his hands. Get a little better grip on the bat that he's using. Williams walked with 1 away. Tovar follows with a single just past Belanger's glove. Low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. And McNally, who is trying to draw a very fine line with that strike zone, is just missing. He was a little disappointed in the call from plate umpire Bill Haller. One ball, no strikes to count to Cardinis. Harmon Killebrew will be up next. 4-3, the Orioles lead by a run. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's McNally set and pitch. Strike called in the inside corner to Cardinis, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Up to that 4th inning when McNally was in trouble with the home run ball, he had retired 7 Minnesota Twins batters in a row. Fly ball, foul. down the right field line and out of play, and it's a strike 2 count now to Leo Cardinis. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Orioles lead the Twins here by a 4-3 score. McNally standing erect at the pitcher's mound. Now gets the sign from Etchebarren. He's ready. The set and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Foul to the Bird dugout on the left side. Strike 2 still to Leo Cardinis. Twins runners are on. At second base, Williams. At first base, Toba. And Cardinis is batting at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 away. The set and the 2-strike pitch. A chopper to third. Over Brooks' glove and into left field. Here's Redmond in. Williams trying to score. There'll be a play at the plate. He is out at the plate, and Williams is retired for the second out of the inning. Redmond's throw right on target to Andy Etchebarren, who put the tag on the sliding Williams for the second out of the inning. Tovar is at second, Cardinis at first, and a big out to cut down the tying run in the game. Williams, the second out here in the 5th. Oh, a very close play at home plate to retire Stan Williams. And Redmond's throw on that chopper that went over the glove of Brooks Robinson into left field was right on target. Cardinis gets the 4th hit of the game for the Twins. He's at first. Tovar is at second. Killebrew is batting with 2 away as Williams is retired on a 7-2 scoring play. And a great throw from Redmond. Low inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Gets away from Etchebarren momentarily, but he quickly hustles it down and holds the runners. Etchebarren had to lean a little bit to his right to take Redmond's throw, and then came right back with a perfect tag on Williams sliding in to retire him for the second out of the inning. 2 on. Tovar, the lead runner at second, and a 1-0 pitch to Killebrew. High fly ball, foul down the left field line. It's going to be out of play. As Brooks tried to play the high hopper on the left side, ball just hopped right over his glove and into left field. Redmond, in charging in, as the ball came right up to him, made a perfect throw to Etchebarren. A key play here in the 5th inning. Ball 2 inside. 2 balls and a strike to Killebrew. Tony Oliva due up next as McNally works very hard here in the 5th to work out of a jam. Partial crowd here, anxious for action in the 5th. And the pitch, cut it a miss. Strike 2, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Killebrew is coming back to the on-deck circle. And he, too, is requesting the pine tar towel. Get a little better grip on that bat handle. 2 balls, 2 strikes, a count to Killebrew. He homered his last time up. The first hit off of McNally with Cardinis aboard, and it brought the Twins from a 4-0 deficit to a 4-2 score, and then Oliva followed with a homer to make it 4-3. That's the last scoring activity we've had. Boy, this has been some kind of 5th inning. In the top half of the 5th, the Birds had the bases loaded with nobody out but did not score. Now the Twins are threatening in the home half. 2-2 delivery as McNally sets and pitches. Ooh, he just missed outside. Curveball was just off the corner, and it's a 3-2 count now to Killebrew. He had a good eye on that pitch. Killebrew walked back in the 1st inning, homered in the 4th. In the 5th, he's batting with 2 on. Tovar, lead runner at second, Cardinis at first. The set by McNally, 3-2 offering. There go the runners. Foul, back on a play, and we'll do it again. So the runners are cut loose now in a 3-2 offering to Killebrew. Outfield very deep for Harmon Killebrew. Set by McNally, 3-2 offering. Foul again. This one to the upper deck here at the Met. Exciting action at Metropolitan Stadium between the Eastern Division champions, the Orioles, and the Western Division champs, the Twins. Playoff series, game number 2. McNally looks to Tovar at second and then steps on. Goes to the rosin bench. Playing a little cat and mouse now with Harmon Killebrew with a 3-2 payoff pitch coming with 2 away in the bottom of the 5th inning. Runners at first and second, and good speed on the base paths for the Twins. Tovar gets a good lead. Johnson is directly behind him on the left side of the infield. Here's the pitch now from McNally. High fly ball behind second base. Now the wind carrying it on the right side. Johnson there. He's got it, and the inning is over. McNally works out of a jam in the 5th. The Twins do not score after 5 innings of play. Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3.
What's new mean to you? To your Baltimore area Buick dealers, it means 1971. 1971, the year in which Buick introduces a new set of values. Features that will help make your new Buick perform better, last longer, and get you more of a return on your investment at trade-in time. See the exciting selection of beautiful 1971 Buicks, including the new Centurion, at your Baltimore area Buick dealer. And be sure to check the double savings you can get now on Buick's famous Opel Mini Brute. Save twice as much from your Baltimore area Buick dealers because all 5 models of the Opel Kadett have been reduced in price, and most automobile manufacturers have already announced increases in their 71 models. Get double savings plus economy of operation. Ask your Baltimore area Buick dealer about the great gas mileage you get from the Opel, plus the low maintenance cost. Room, power, and economy, all part of a great combination you get from Opel. See your nearest Baltimore area Buick dealer now. Remember, for Buick or Opel, you get a new set of values from your Baltimore area Buick dealers. Stop in soon.
Well, after the Twins had to play catch-up all day yesterday, and they couldn't do it, dropping the opener by a 10-6 score, they played a little catch-up early in the ball game here with a 3-run 4th inning. And they now trail by a run at 4-3, and it looks like the final innings of this ball game as we move to the top of the 6th are going to be exact replicas of last year's first 2 games, and the Orioles won in extra innings 4-3 and 1-0. Stan Williams in relief, ready to duel Dave McNally for the final 4 frames of this ball game. Don't forget now, tickets are going to be on sale tomorrow morning at the Oriole ticket office for the first playoff game between the Twins and the Orioles at Memorial Stadium. And game time tomorrow will be at 1 o'clock. Our broadcast coverage will begin at 12:55 on the radio network. Twins and the Orioles, Palmer against Blyleven. Games 4 and 5, if necessary, will be played at Memorial Stadium on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons. Starting times for all of the games in Baltimore will be at 1 o'clock. It'll be McNally, Belanger, and Blair to face Williams. Here in the top half of the 6th inning. Boy, what a job Williams did in the top of the 5th. Zepp walked Frank Robinson, gave up a hit to Boog Powell, and walked Merv Redden. And manager Bill Rigney went to his bullpen for Williams. He came in and got Brooks Robinson. Pop up to Mitterwald in foul territory. Dave Johnson to fly to shallow right to Oliva. Holding Frank Robinson at third base, and then he struck out Andy Etchebarren. McNally 1 for 2 in the game. His hit in the 4th inning drove in a run. Outside for a ball. Williams to McNally. 1 ball, no strikes. The Orioles have out-hit the Twins 7-4 in the game. They lead it 4-3. Williams with a strike call to McNally, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Williams pitched 3 innings in relief yesterday. He's to the line, and here's the 1-ball, 1-strike pitch to McNally. Cut and a miss. Strike 2, and it's 1-2. Right back with a 1-2 delivery. Here it is. McNally swinging and a foul between the bag and third base coach Billy Hunter. And the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tickets for tomorrow's American League Championship Series game, game number 3 at Baltimore, are priced at $7 for box seats, $5 for upper reserve, $3 for outfield pavilion, and $2 for bleachers. A smash to shortstop Cardinis on 1 hop. He plays it to Killebrew, and there's 1 away in the Orioles' 6th inning. McNally is retired on a sharply hit ground ball and 1 hop for Leo Cardinis. Now here's Belanger, who has a perfect day going for him, a 2-for-2 effort. After walking and scoring a run in the first inning, he came in on Boog Powell's double to deep right field. He singled and then scored ahead of Frank Robinson on Frank's 3rd inning home run, and then singled in the 4th inning. Inside, a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. His hit in the 4th inning drove starter Tommy Hall from the pitcher's mound, and reliever Bill Zepp came in. One ball, no strikes, the count to Belanger. 1 away in the top of the 6th inning. The Orioles lead by a run, 4-3. Renick even with the bag at third base. Killebrew well behind the bag at first base. And the pitch. Strike on the outside corner. It's called, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Mark Belanger. Now we were talking about the great extra effort of Williams in the 5th inning. Here's a high pop in the infield on the right side. Killebrew is calling for it. Thompson is there. It'll be Killebrew's ball. He's got it. Belanger is retired for the 2nd out of the 6th, and here's Paul Blair.
Airfielder Paul Blair.
Another great play in the 5th inning was the throw from Merv Redmond to Andy Etchebarren to retire Stan Williams, trying to score on the base hit by Cardinis from second base. Redmond's throw arriving just in time to nip Williams in what would have been the tying run of the game. Blair looking for his first hit not only in the game but also in the series. He's now 0 for 7, 0 for 2 in this contest. 1 ball and no strikes. Williams working in the 6th inning. Blair taking a strike, and it's 1-1. Cincinnati ahead of Pittsburgh 2-0 in games in their best 3 out of 5 series. As the Reds won again today, 3-1. Merritt the winner, Walker the loser. Bobby Tolan had a home run for the winning Reds. Cut and a miss. Strike 2. Off-speed curveball from Stan Williams. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count to Blair. Baltimore leading Minnesota 4-3 in the top of the 6th inning. Williams has now retired 5 Baltimore hitters in a row in his relief stint. 2-strike pitch to Blair. Sharply hit, ground ball to Cardinis. He has it. He has to hurry his throw. Blair is out by a step, and the inning is over. 3 up, 3 down. Williams retires the Orioles here in the 6th inning. The end of 5.5. It is Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. Tony Oliva will be the leadoff batter as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Birds clinging to a 1-run 4-3 lead. Oliva, Allier, and Mitterwald to face McNally in the 6th inning. Oliva, 1 for 2 in the game. He homered in the 4th inning. It's a ball to the opposite field to the left field bleachers. Inside for a ball. Oliva's sitting down to avoid from being hit, but the pitch was not that close, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. One 1-0, the count to Oliva, leading off the Minnesota 6th. Allier to bat next. Here's McNally's 1-0 pitch. High high fly ball down the left field line. Redmond right near the foul line. Now crossing it and near the fence, makes the catch. Oliva retired, and there's one away. He made the catch in foul territory. Oliva retired, and Brant Elliott will be the batter. Palmer 120 in the season. And the Minnesota starter scheduled to go tomorrow, Bert Blyleven. 110 while losing 9. Strike one to Elliott, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Elliott 0 for 2 in the game. He's looking for his first hit in this series. He's now 0 for 5. A chopper to third baseman Brooks Robinson. He plays a big hop off the grass to Boog Powell for out number 2. McNally retiring Oliva and Elliott without any problems in the 6th. And the batter will be Mitterwald, the catcher. Mitterwald popped to first baseman Boog Powell in the 2nd inning, struck out in the 4th. Had 3 hits yesterday. Here's the set, and the pitch. It is low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. McNally. Well, Mo Drabowski is loosening up now in the Baltimore bullpen as McNally works here in the 6th inning, retiring the first 2 batters without any trouble. Strike call. Fastball zipping in. Ready, Dave McNally, and Mitterwald swinging, and a fair ball down the third baseline. Past Brooks Robinson, up for the ball, Redmond, to throw and a play at second. Mitterwald, safe there. He is in front of the throw from Redmond to Dave Johnson. Boy, that ball was just fair down the third baseline. A 2-bagger for Mitterwald. It's the Twins' 5th hit of the game. Redmond's throw to Dave Johnson at second base, and as Johnson made the tag on Mitterwald, they collided, and the ball popped out of the glove of Dave Johnson. So Mitterwald is safe at second base. And here is third baseman Rick Renick, who is 0 for 2 in the game. The Twins now have 5 hits. The Orioles have 7. They lead it 4-3. Curveball is inside, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. So Minnesota puts the tying run at second base here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Danny Thompson will be next. The set by McNally. And the pitch. It's low for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Check swinging on that last pitch. Hitter Rick Renick. Two balls, no strikes. Here's the set by McNally as he checks Mitterwald and pitches. Cut it a miss. Strike 1, and it is 2-1. So with 2 away, Mitterwald doubles down the left field line. He's at second base. Karanowski begins to toss in the Minnesota bullpen. Here's a line shot. Scooped up by Brooks. He tags out Mitterwald for the inning-ending out. Rather than make the throw across, Brooks just tagged Mitterwald, who was coming to him at third base, for the final out of the Minnesota 6th inning. So the Twins do not score as they leave Mitterwald at second. And after 6 innings of play, it's Baltimore 4 and Minnesota 3.
Last vacation, I found out fresh air and sunshine can be great for just about everything but my skin. I mean, it was completely dried out, really sick. So I went looking for a good medicated skin lotion and found Dermassage. Used it every day since, too.
Medicated Dermassage, the dry skin specialist.
Hey, when you work construction like I do, you're outside a good 8 hours a day or more. Rain, snow, or shine. And by the time I get home, the weather's got my face and hands looking just like a lot of raw leather. Before I reach for my wife, I reach for Dermassage. Don't know what Dermassage has in it, but it sure heals my skin up great.
Soothing, cooling Dermassage, the medicated skin lotion used in over 4,000 hospitals.
Lucky for me, my husband brought some Dermassage home last time he went shopping for me. That's when I antiqued the furniture. All that turpentine and lacquer ruined my hands, till I remembered the Dermassage. Furniture didn't turn out too well, but my hands sure did.
Use medicated Dermassage daily. You'll feel much better.
Well, before we begin the 7th inning, and after 6, it's Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
10 to 2 are the hours I like to spend with you. I'm Jack Lacey. Hope you can join me Monday through Saturday on Radio 11 WBAL, Baltimore.
Stan Williams begins his 3rd inning in relief as he faces Frank Robinson, Boog Powell, and Merv Redmond in the top half of the 7th inning. McNally working out of a mild jam in the 6th as he retires Renick for the final out, leaving Mitterwald at second base. Frank has a homer and 2 trips. He lined a shot to the left field bleacher seats, a 400-foot home run in the 3rd inning with Mark Belanger aboard. Flied to right fielder Oliva in the 1st inning, walked in the 5th. If this series should go 4 games, the probables for the 4th game, Tommy Phoebus for the Orioles and Jim Cott for the Twins. Tomorrow, it's going to be Jim Palmer against Bert Blyleven. Frank steps in as the leadoff batter. Boog Powell and Merv Redmond to follow. Williams to the line, and here's a pitch. Foul out of play, back behind home plate. Strike 1, no balls, 1 strike. Williams used to pitch in this area. Back in the middle 50s, he was with the St. Paul Club. And in 1957, he won 19 games for St. Paul, his best year in the minor leagues. Strike on a curveball, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. With the Dodgers in the early 60s, he won 14, 15, and 14 in 60, 61, and 62. His best records in the major leagues. Here's a very high fly ball to shallow center field. Tovar is coming in. Still coming. He's there. Makes the catch. Frank Robinson is retired for the opening out of the 7th inning. 1 up, 1 down, and Boog Powell will be the batter. 2 hits and 3 trips. Boog doubled in a run in the 1st inning, struck out in the 3rd, and singled again in the 5th. He has 4 hits in the series. Oliva has 4, and Mitterwald has 4. From the left side, Boog steps in to face Stan Williams, who has retired 7 in a row in this relief stint. Low for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. That's the slider pitch that Williams likes to use so much. And it is known as his out pitch. There was a time when Williams could just reach back and fire it past anybody and everybody. Inside. 2 balls and no strikes, the count to Boog Powell. But after arm problems with the New York Yankees and Cleveland Indians, and even some arm injuries this year, Williams has had to go to the slider or the breaking pitch rather than the fastball. 2 balls, no strikes, and a pitch. Boog swinging. High fly ball, deep center field. Tovar back and then coming in. He's there, and he's got it for the out. Boog is retired. 2 away. Well, he hit that one to the deepest part of this ballpark. Right center, and Tovar with plenty of room to drift back and then come in a couple of steps to make the catch. Now Redmond walked twice and struck out. He's 0 for 1. 4-3, the Orioles lead the Twins. We're in the top of the 7th inning. The Birds were leading 4-0 when Minnesota came up with 3 runs and a 2-run homer by Killebrew and a solo shot by Tony Oliva to come within a run. Boog drove in a run for the Birds in the 1st inning. Frank Robinson had a home run with a mate aboard in the 3rd. A bounce to the 3rd, Renick charging. He has it, flips on the run, out at first. As Killebrew came up with a very fine pickup on a low throw from Rick Renick. So Williams retires the Birds in order in the 7th inning. 1, 2, 3. And after 6.5 innings of play, Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3. Well, the bottom of the seventh now as McNally and the Birds cling to that one-run lead, 4-3. Danny Thompson, and then Bob Allison to pinch bat. Here's Thompson swinging in the first pitch. He pops it in the air behind home plate. Etchebarren has the room. Andy waiting. He's got it, and there's 1-0. Thompson foul pops to catcher Etchebarren on one pitch. And now the announcement of Bob Allison batting for Stan Williams. Boy, what a relief appearance and performance by Stan Williams. 3 innings pitched. No hits. He struck out 1. He did not walk anybody. He retired 9 in a row. Paranowski listening up in the Minnesota bullpen and the probable for the 8th inning. Allison struck out yesterday in a pinch hitting role. He's 0 for 1 in this series. High for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. McNally has gone all the way. 1 away in the 7th inning, and Allison looks at ball 2 inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, after 13 years in the major leagues, Allison has announced that he is retiring from baseball at the end of this 1970 season. Cut and a miss. Strike 1, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. We might correct ourselves and say that he is retiring from active baseball. He hopes to stay in it and perhaps the administrative end of it, or maybe a coaching or minor league job. 2 balls, 1 strike. Allison swinging and a foul out of play. This one to reach the upper deck here, and it is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bob Allison. Two pitch. Struck him out. No, he didn't. 3-2, and Haller started to go with the right hand and then pulled it down. Boy, McNally coming so close to striking out Allison, and now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Haller actually raised his right hand and then brought it back down. Well, it is Pete Rickard and Eddie Watt loosening up in the Baltimore bullpen. Payoff pitch. Foul out of play. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Minnesota bullpen is quiet at the moment. Paranowski is ready. He will pitch the top of the 8th. Payoff pitch, high ball 4. So, with 1 down, Allison reaches on the walk. It is the 4th served up by McNally. He has now walked 4 and struck out 4. And Tovar will be the batter. After McNally had Allison struck out, at least he thought, on a 2-2 pitch, he walks him on the 3-2 pay pitch. Tovar, a hit in 3 trips. McNally sets, checks Allison, and pitches. Strike 1 called, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. The Orioles lead 4-3. They've led throughout the game. 1-0, 3-0, and 4-0. And then a 3-run 4th by the Twins. Brought them to within a run, and that's the last we've seen any scoring in this ball game. The set by McNally. The look and the pitch. High, and it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Just an outstanding relief performance by right-hander Stan Williams. Came in with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 5th inning, and retired Brooks Robinson, Davey Johnson, and Andy Etchebarren without a runner moving. The set by McNally as he looks again to first and pitches. Here's a chopper to the shortstop, Belanger. Flip to second, 1 relay on. Not in time. Tovar beats the relay, Johnson to Powell. But the force on Allison to retire the lead runner. 2 away in the inning. And that was not a double play ball. Cardinis, a hit in 2 trips. He walked in the 4th inning and then scored ahead of Killebrew when Killebrew homered to the left field bleacher seats. Killebrew will be next. Here's the set, the pitch, there goes the runner. Here's a chop to the shortstop, Belanger. Mark will have to go to first. He's there in time to retire Cardinis and the Twins in the 7th inning. So Minnesota leaves 1 on, and after 7 innings of play, it's Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3.
Have a nuts potato chip. For the fun of it, there's only one of it. Nuts potato chips for freshness and goodness. If you eat one, you eat them all.
Not just anyone can be an Utz nut. It takes loyalty, devotion, a driving hunger to do almost anything for those delicious Utz potato chips. In short, you have to be really wild for fresh taste. And above all, you must never, ever be caught without several big bags of Utz potato chips on your kitchen shelf. Yes, you too can be an Utz nut. All it really takes is 1 bite. Fresh, golden, delicious. Utz. Eat 1, and you eat them all. Utz potato chips. Fresh.
Well, Ron Paranowski will be the 4th pitcher to work in this ball game for the Minnesota Twins as he comes in relief of Stan Williams. Paranowski worked 1 inning in yesterday's ball game. That was the top of the 9th, and he retired 3 in a row with a pair of strikeouts, striking out Boog Powell and Ellie Hendricks and getting Frank Robinson and a pop-up to shortstop Leo Cardinis. Paranowski, who was the top relief pitcher in the American League this year for the Minnesota Twins, although his 1-loss record does not show that, he was very tough in relief for the Minnesota Ball Club. He pitched in 67 games, won 7, lost 8, and in 111 innings pitched had a 2.43 earned run average. He had a mid-season slump in August, but rebounded well in September and finished the year strong in relief for Minnesota. He was exceptionally strong against the Orioles. He worked in 7 ball games against Baltimore this year and did not give up a run in all of the relief appearances that he had against the Birds. He won 2, did not lose any, and had 4 saves in 14 1/3 relief pitching innings against the Birds. If anything, you might say that it was a little bit of a disappointment for Paranowski in his relief work against the Twins was the fact that he walked 7 in the 14 1/3 innings that he worked. He struck out only 5. Before this inning started, manager Earl Weaver came out to talk to plate umpire Bill Haller, and they had a rather long discussion while Paranowski was coming in. And now Haller has called for manager Bill Rigney to come out to the pitcher's mound, and Haller has requested that the Minnesota ball boy bring a towel out to Paranowski, and Paranowski is now rubbing his hands on the towel, and evidently there has been some question by the Orioles that Paranowski might be using some sort of substance before he pitches here in relief. And now Paranowski is walking from the pitcher's mound to the Minnesota dugout, and the ball boy is following him in to the dugout. As Paranowski was walking into the pitcher's mound from the bullpen, manager Weaver came out and had a very long discussion with Haller and told him that he would like to have Haller check Paranowski. Haller did, called Rigney out. As Rigney came out, the Twins ball boy was called out with a towel, and Paranowski was requested by Haller to wipe off his hands on the towel. Now we're looking to the Oriole dugout at this moment, and the Orioles are up and off the top of the dugout steps, and they are looking, and they're pointing to their wrist to have Haller checked Paranowski's wrist to see if he might not have some sort of substance underneath his sweatshirt that he might be putting on the ball for perhaps the use of maybe a grease ball or something. But it is very plain and evident from here that Haller, in asking Paranowski to use the towel to wipe the substance off his hands, and calling Rigney out, and Rigney and Haller are having a discussion at this moment, and now Rigney is retreating back to the dugout. There's been no argument from Rigney. But Weaver, talking to Haller, asked him to check Paranowski. And we are still waiting for Paranowski to come back out of the dugout. A guess here in the broadcast booth might be that Paranowski is changing sweatshirts. It's a possibility, as he is still in the Minnesota dugout. He has not come out as yet. So the delay here in the 8th inning, as Paranowski was scheduled to come in relief and to pitch against Brooks Robinson and the Orioles in the top of the 8th inning. But still no Minnesota pitcher, as Paranowski is at the moment in the Twins dugout, or maybe even in the dressing room. And now Earl Weaver is coming out and trotting out to talk to Bill Haller. And Paranowski is just now coming out of the Twins dugout once again. Now it is almost impossible for us to tell whether or not Paranowski has changed sweatshirts. And here is Paranowski showing Earl Weaver that he does not have anything on his hands. He walked from the dugout to home plate and walked right in front of Earl Weaver and showed Weaver his left hand. And now third base umpire Jim Honachek is coming in. Paranowski will take his warm-up tosses to George Mitterwald. So we have had a bit of controversy here to start the 8th inning. Paranowski walking right at an angle to the home plate area and walking right past Bill Haller and showing Earl Weaver that he had nothing on his left hand. But it's quite evident that plate umpire Bill Haller did find something on his left hand when he first checked Paranowski, because he ordered a towel for Paranowski and then ordered him to the dugout, where he spent considerable time in the dugout, either wiping that substance off of his left hand or changing sweatshirts. Now we're ready for action in the top of the 8th inning as Paranowski faces Brooks Robinson. To the line and the pitch. Outside for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0 to Brooks Robinson, and a line drive to right field. It's going to drop for a hit, may get through. Oliva cuts it off, and Brooks will be held to a long single. Here's the quick relay in to Danny Thompson. So the Birds start the 8th with a single by Brooks Robinson, and that is his 4th hit of this championship series. 4-3 score, Baltimore ahead by a run. That's number 8 in the hit department for the Orioles in the game. Now Dave Johnson batting. Well, we had some 7 to 8 minute delay to start the 8th inning as Ron Paranowski was asked to go to the Minnesota dugout either to change sweatshirts or to wipe some sort of substance off of his hand before he starts his relief stint here in the 8th inning. A strike to Johnson, no balls and 1 strike. Davey is 0 for 3 in the game. Now the set by Paranowski as he checks the runner and pitches high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Orioles lead it 4-3. We're in the top of the 8th inning. And now Bill Haller is looking at the baseball once again and keeping it in play as he brings it right back to Paranowski. Johnson had requested that Haller look at the baseball after that last pitch. And Haller very carefully inspected the ball and then tossed it right back to the Minnesota pitcher. Ready, Paranowski from the belt, pitching high, and it is 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Dave Johnson. Now the Orioles trying to add an insurance run here in the top of the 8th inning. They lead it 4-3, and they've led throughout. Game number 2 of this American League Championship Series. The Birds won the opener yesterday, 10-6. Johnson swinging, line drive, and hit to right. Falling right in front of Oliva. Play at second. Brooks out! recovering as Brooks Robinson had to hold between first and second to see if the ball was going to drop or be caught. It dropped in front of Oliva, but on one sweeping motion, the Twins' right fielder fired a strike to Cardinis at second base to retire. Brooks Robinson, the lead runner, take a hit away from Johnson. It's a fielder's choice play. Brooks is out in a scoring play that has scored 9-6. Heads up alert play by Tony Oliva as Brooks had to hold between first and second to wait and see whether or not it would be a hit or an out. Etchebarren cutting and fouling to third base coach Billy Hunter, and it is no balls and one strike. Hunter took the ball on the foul and threw it back to Mitterwald, the catcher. Mitterwald gave it to Bill Haller, and Haller has thrown the baseball out of the game. Well, there is no question about a controversy developing here in the eighth inning with Ron Paranowski, the ace relief pitcher of the Minnesota Twins. No balls, one strike to count to Andy Etchebarren. Dave McNally will be next. The Birds with one away and one on. Strike on the inside corner to Andy. He was leaning back, but the pitch caught the corner. No balls, two strikes. The Orioles ahead by one run, 4-3, as they bat in the top of the eighth inning. Paranowski came in the start of the inning. He was ordered to the Twins dugout by plate umpire Bill Haller. Up high and in tight for a ball, and it's one ball and two strikes to Andy. And before he was ordered to the dugout, the Twins ball boy brought a towel out to Paranowski, and he was ordered to wipe his hands off on the towel. And then Haller said for Paranowski to go to the dugout. I'm not sure at this moment, but I believe to change sweatshirts. Here's the pitch to Andy, inside, two balls, two strikes. Well, Paranowski working Etchebarren high and inside on the last three pitches. One has caught the corner, the other two a little too tight. Two balls, two strikes to Etchebarren. One away in the top of the eighth. Paranowski has given up a hit. Not a fielder's choice play. Retired Brooks Robinson at second base. Outside, 3-2 and a full count. Three balls, two strikes to Etchebarren. One down in the top of the eighth inning. Johnson with a safe lead at first base. Here's the pitch. Etchebarren swinging in a ground ball right back to Paranowski. One out at second. Cardinis relay. Double play. Etchebarren to a 1-6-3 double play. Twins turn it over for the second time in this game, and the fifth double play in the series for Minnesota. After 7.5 innings of play, Baltimore 4, Minnesota 3.
A spacecraft heads for the moon. 9, 8. And a race car takes another lap at Indianapolis. What do these two vehicles have in common? They're both the product of long years of scientific testing. They both require special care, special fuel, and special lubrication. And your family car isn't any different. It needs special lubrication to protect its vital engine parts from everyday friction and wear. It needs STP oil treatment. The same STP oil treatment race car drivers like Mario Andretti rely on to keep their high-powered machines in the race mile after pounding mile. STP lubricates vital engine parts better than regular motor oil alone. Keeps any engine on or off the track running smoother, cooler, quieter, longer. STP, like the high-compression engine in the car you drive, is a product of the space age. Have your service station add a can of STP to your oil and keep that engine running racer sharp. STP is the racer's stage.
Well, we just found out here in the radio booth that umpire Bill Haller ordered Paranowski to the Twins dugout to clean his hands, and that he had some sort of tar substance on his left pitching hand before he was ready to work in the top of the eighth inning. And that's the reason that Haller asked him to wipe his hands off with a towel and then ordered him to the dugout to wash his hands. And then when he came back, Paranowski walked right between Haller and Weaver and showed Earl Weaver that his left hand was clean. But he did have some tar substance on his left hand before he was ready to pitch. McNally to Killebrew. And low for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. The bottom of the 8th inning in a 4-3 game. Boy, look at Redmond in left field. He is a step away from the warning path, and Brooks is guarding that line down the third base line. Killebrew takes ball 2, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. In the top of the 8th, Killebrew to be followed by Oliva, and then Brant Elliott. The Birds lead the Twins 4-3. Second game of the American League Championship Series as McNally has gone all the way. And the pitch. Low, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. And turning around and looking out into center field and then coming back and jawing at plate umpire Bill Haller is Dave McNally. So McNally is behind at 3 balls and no strikes. Killebrew to be followed by Tony Oliva. Ready with a 3-0 delivery. Strike 1 called, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Dave has walked 4, struck out 4, given up 5 hits. 4-3, Baltimore leads. Swing and a miss for a strike 2 count, and it's 3-2 to Killebrew. Well, this is a very big 8th inning for McNally as he faces the meat of the order in Killebrew, Oliva, and Elliott. Hitters 3, 4, and 5. 3-2 payoff pitch. He got him. Cut and a miss, strike 3. And McNally has retired Killebrew for the opening out. Strikeout number 5 for Dave. Now Oliva. And before he bats, let's pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Orioles Baseball Network.
This is Joe Walsh. Wake up to Baltimore's smoothest alarm clock. Ted Steele, Monday through Saturday at 5 a.m. on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
Oliva, who has a home run in 3 trips, stepping up. Boy, Killebrew a big out in the top of the 8th, bottom of the 8th, as McNally records his 5th strikeout of the game. And battling back from a 3-0 deficit. Here's a high pop into left field. Coming in is Redmond, out Belanger. Merge still on the run. Straddles the foul line, makes the catch in foul territory to retire Oliva. 2 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. Now Elliott, who is 0 for 3 in this game and 0 for 6 in this series. The Orioles holding to a 4-3 lead, hoping to fly home tonight and play tomorrow with a 2-0 games lead in this best of 3 out of 5 series. Check swing, 1 ball, no strikes. Pitch was high and inside. Once again, numbers 1 and 2 in the Baltimore bullpen, Rickard and Watt. Inside, ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the line by McNally in the pitch, and a cut and a miss by Elliott for a 2-1 count. Killebrew opened the inning striking out. Oliva with a fly ball down the left field line in foul territory, caught by Merv Redmond. With 2 down, here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2 to Elliott, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And McNally battling back here in the 8th inning. He has left Twins runners on in the 6th and 7th. And 2 on in the 5th. Foul out of play. Twins caught up, trailing 4-0 with a 3-run bottom of the 4th inning. 2-run homer by Killebrew. And a solo shot by Oliva following Killebrew's homer. 2-2 delivery. Foul, and it's going to reach the seats behind home plate. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles scored 1 in the 1st on Boog Powell's double that plated Belanger. 2 more in the 3rd on a 2-run homer by Frank Robinson. McNally drove in a run with a single in the 4th inning. Ball 3 outside, and it's 3-2 now to Elliott. McNally has not retired the Twins in order since the 3rd inning, but he's working on it here in the 8th. 2 away, nobody on. Elliott at 3 balls and 2 strikes. To the line, McNally in the pitch. Ball 4 outside. McNally issuing a 2-out walk, his 5th of the game to Brant Elliott, and here is George Mitterwald.
Catcher, George Mitterwald.
Mitterwald doubled his last time up. A ground ball past Brooks Robinson. Now we're going to get a pinch runner for Brant Elliott. It'll be Jim Holt. Holt is going to pinch run for Allier. In all probability, Holt will stay in the game in left field in the ninth inning. The set and a pickoff attempt and just a lob throw by McNally to first baseman Boog Powell. Holt, the pinch runner at first base. And Mitterwald, the batter, with 2 away. McNally serves, and he's high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Tense-filled moments here at the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota, as we're in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Orioles are leading 4-3 in the second game of this championship series. And what a game this one has been. Now McNally from the belt looks to the runner at first and pitches. Outside, and he's 2-0 now to George Mitterwald. Etchebarren is going to talk with McNally. In the top of the 5th inning, when the Orioles had the bases loaded with nobody out, leading 4-3 and hoping to break the game wide open, Stan Williams came in and retired 3 in a row, and the Orioles left the 3 base runners stranded. In the bottom of the 5th, the Twins had runners at first and second with 1 down, and a bouncing single past Brooks Robinson to left field to Merv Redmond in left field. Tried to score Stan Williams from second base, and he was cut down at home plate on a perfect throw. Redmond to Etchebarren. Here's the pitch. High foul pop, right side. Boog over near the Twins dugout, but he will not get this one. It is about 30 rows deep to the box seats behind home plate. Strike 1 to Mitterwald. 2 balls and 1 strike. Ready, McNally, the pitch, a strike called, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Mitterwald is complaining to plate umpire Bill Haller. Just an hour before the game today that the Major League Umpires Association settled their 1-day strike with the American League Commissioner Joe Cronin. 6 umpires working today's game. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Mitterwald swinging in a chopper to third. Brooks has it. He's going to second. Out there, and the inning is over. Holt is the force on a 5-4 scoring play. After 8 innings of play, it's Baltimore 4 and Minnesota 3. Well, we go to the 9th with a 1-run Baltimore lead, 4-3. And we have Holt in center field, and Tovar has moved to left field. So Tovar will replace Allier defensively, and Holt will replace Allier in the Minnesota lineup. He will bat in the number 5 position behind Tony Oliva. Holt stays in the game after pinch running for Allier. McNally will be the leadoff batter for the Orioles in the top of the 9th inning. McNally will be the leadoff batter for the Orioles in the top of the 9th inning. First pitch from Paranowski is low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. McNally a hit in 3 trips, and his single drove in a run. That's the last time the Orioles scored back in the 4th inning. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Ron Paranowski, who was ordered by plate umpire Bill Haller to go to the Minnesota dugout and wash his hands, get rid of some tar substance that was on his hand before he started his relief stint in the 8th. Low, and it's 3-0 now to McNally. Jim Cott loosening up in the Minnesota bullpen. He is the probable starter for the Twins in the 4th game if it is to be played in Baltimore Tuesday. Strike to McNally. Strike 2 to Dave McNally in a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Jim Harden loosening up in the Baltimore bullpen. Top of the 9th inning, 4-3. Belanger will be next, to be followed by Paul Blair. 3-2 delivery. Foul out of play. Full count pitch coming in at 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles scoring early and holding on. They were ahead 4-0 in the game. The Twins had a 3-run fourth inning and a 2-run home run by Harmon Killebrew and a solo shot by Tony Oliva. Payoff pitch coming at 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dave McNally, and here it is. Here's a fly ball to left field. Tovar chasing this one, going back near the fence. He won't get it. It's over his head, and McNally is streaking on to second base, and he's in with a stand-up double. So McNally opens the Oriole 9th inning with a double over Tovar's head in left center. Second hit off of Paranowski, the 9th in the game for the Orioles. And Belanger will bat with nobody out and McNally in scoring position at second base. He hit the 3-2 pitch over Tovar's head in left center. Bounced it off the fence in one hop. Keep in mind now, in 14 2/3 innings pitched against the Orioles this year, Paranowski did not give up a run. Here's the set now as Belanger is the batter, and a pitch by Paranowski. It's outside, 1 ball and no strikes. The Twins are looking for the bunt, although Belanger was not scoring on that last pitch. Killebrew is just in front of the bag at first and charged in. And Renick is even with the bag at third, and he too made a charge to the infield grass. In the 9th inning, as the Orioles try to increase their 4-3 lead, they have McNally in scoring position at second base. Here's the set and the pitch. Strike at the knees in the outside corner to Belanger, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, now Louis Tiot has joined Jim Cott in the Minnesota bullpen. Hardin is still loosening up in the Baltimore pen. Here's the set by Paranowski, 2-1, and it is high, and it is now 2 balls and a strike. That was the 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike, the count to Belanger. Well, at the moment, this crowd very quiet here at the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota, as the Twins trailing by a run, 4-3. And the Orioles batting in the top of the 9th inning. Paranowski pitching. Belanger swinging. Ground ball hit right field. McNally will hold at third base as Oliva is up with the ball very quickly. So a single to right by Belanger, his 3rd hit of the game. And the Orioles' 3rd off of Paranowski puts McNally at third base with nobody out. And Blair will be the hitter, with runners at first and third and nobody out. Oliva charging in on the ground ball on the right side, and McNally did not have a chance to score in the base hit. Now Bill Rigney is coming out to talk to Ron Paranowski with Tiot and Cott in the Minnesota bullpen. And Rigney, at the moment, standing at the pitches, Robert, and staring out into center field, talking to Paranowski with Mitterwald joining him. Runners at first and third, nobody down. A leadoff double by McNally and a ground ball single past Thompson, the second baseman, to right field by Belanger, and the Birds have runners at first and third. Don't forget now, game time tomorrow will be at 1 o'clock. Broadcast coverage from Baltimore's Memorial Stadium will begin at 12:55. The Orioles and the Twins in game number 3 of this best 3 out of 5 American League Championship Series. Blair, 0 for 3 in the game. Robbed of a hit back in the third when Renick made a great stab of a line drive, hit his way at third base. The pitch to Paul. Strike at the knees, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Birds trying to add the insurance run. It's McNally at third base, and hopefully could get another with Belanger at first with nobody down. Here's the set by Paranowski and a pitch to Blair, and a foul out of play. This one off to the right. It'll be a strike 2 count to Paul Blair. Paranowski, who came in the 8th inning for Stan Williams, gave up a leadoff hit to Brooks Robinson. Got out of the inning when Echeverren hit into a double play. Now, here's the set by the left-hander Paranowski, and a pitch to Blair, and a foul out of play. It's still a 2-strike count. Really, Paranowski gave up almost another base hit when Johnson lined one to right field. That Oliva trapped in shallow right. Brooks holding at first, waiting to see whether or not the ball was going to be caught or trapped, and could not get the second in time, and a hit was taken away from Johnson on a fielder's choice play. 2-strike pitch to Blair. Set in the delivery. Strike 3 at the letters. Blair looked at it. He dropped his bat, and it is kicked away by plate umpire Bill Haller. And there is one away here in the top of the 9th inning as Blair is retired and a called 3rd strike. Well, as Blair took the called 3rd strike, he dropped his bat. And Haller just kicked it away. And now Mitterwald and Paranowski are going to chat at the pitcher's mound as Frank Robinson will be the batter. Following Frank to the plate will be Boog Powell. The Orioles 4 on 10 hits. The Twins 3 on 5 hits. And since the 4th inning, this one has been nip and tuck, with the Orioles leading all the way. They had a 4-0 lead before the Twins scored 3 off of McNally in the bottom of the 4th. Now Paranowski trying to work out of this 9th inning jam to Frank Robinson. Strike 1 and a cut and a miss. No balls and 1 strike. Back in the 5th, when Williams came on, the bases were loaded with nobody out. And Williams got Brooks Robinson to pop to the catcher. Dave Johnson, shallow fly ball to right fielder Oliva with Frank Robinson holding at third. He could not score on that one, and he struck out Etchebarren. Paranowski trying to work out of a jam. He is 0-2 now to Frank Robinson on a foul ball down the right field line and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. McNally at third, Belanger at first. They've opened the inning with a double. Belanger singled him to third base. 2-strike pitch to Frank Robinson. In tight for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Paranowski out in front of the pitcher's mound now as he rubs up the baseball, moving around that mound. Here in the top of the 9th inning, the Orioles trying to add that insurance run. Dave McNally at third base. Ready, Paranowski. Here's the pitch to Frank. It is outside, just missing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, Frank had a good eye on that one. So the 2-2 count coming to Frank Robinson. Paranowski working quickly. He's ready, up tight and inside, and he drove Robinson back where he fell down. Almost hit by the pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes and a full count to Frank. Now Frank steps away, waiting to get back into the batter's backs. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Boy, Paranowski and Frank Robinson battling each other here in the top half of the 9th inning. At second base, or nobody at second. At third base, McNally. At first base, Belanger. Runners at first and third with 1 down. Second base is open. And Paranowski's pitch. There goes Belanger, and it is inside, ball 4. The bases are loaded with 1 away for Boog Powell. Well, that's the first walk by Paranowski. And Powell steps up now with everybody at a base for the Orioles. At third, McNally. At second, Belanger. And at first, Frank Robinson. Powell in the game. 2 hits and 4 trips. He's 4 for 9 in this 2-game series thus far here at Minnesota. Paranowski will work from a full windup. The outfield, of course, shading Powell to the right. He's a left-handed batter. Strike 1, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. And let's change that to Paranowski. Looking like he was going to work from a full windup, he went to the stretch position. So he will work now from a set, pitching to Powell with the bases loaded. And one down in the top of the ninth inning. Here's the set. And the delivery to Powell. The curveball is up high. Boog backing away to avoid from being hit. 1 ball and 1 strike. Still in the Minnesota bullpen, Louis Tiant, a right-hander, and Jim Cott, a left-hander. Twins trail by a run, 4-3. We're in the top of the ninth inning with 3 runners on. To Frank Robinson drew a walk to load the bases. The only out of the inning, Paul Blair looked at a called third strike. The set and the pitch. Foul down the left field line. It's going to be out of play, and Paranowski ahead now at a ball and 2 strikes to Boog Powell. Well, the Twins down by a run. They will bat Renick, Thompson, and the pitcher in the ninth inning. The Orioles hope that they can increase their lead here in the top of the ninth. They have an excellent chance to do so. Powell batting at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bases loaded. 1 away. And Paranowski is ready. From the stretch, and here's the 2-strike delivery. Again, the foul. It's out of play. This one to the left. And Boog's still alive at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oh, you talk about pitcher and batter battling here in the ninth inning. Paranowski, after going 3-2 to Frank Robinson and walking him, is coming right back on a great challenge to Boog Powell. And now at 1 ball and 2 strikes to Boog. Powell flied to deep right field and had dropped behind Oliva in the first inning for a double. Struck out in the third, single to left in the 5th, and flied to deep center field to Tovar his last time up in the 7th inning. Paranowski, the 4th pitcher to work in the game for the Twins. Hall, Zepp, Williams before him. Now the set and the 2-strike delivery. Boog swinging in a line drive down the left field line. It's well hit. Tovar chasing it. He can't get it. It's a fair ball. Here's 1 run in with McNally scoring. Belanger's going to score, and it'll be a ground rule double, and Frank Robinson will have to go back to third base. And the Orioles have increased their 4-3 lead to 6-3 with a bases-loaded double by Boog Powell. And now Rigney is coming out and is going to talk to Bill Haller about whether or not the ball was fair. It hit right near the line. Tovar is not offering an argument to the left field umpire, Marty Springstead. But Rigney coming out and talking to Bill Haller. The Orioles have increased their lead to 6-3. With a 2-run double by Boog Powell. Frank Robinson would have scored had that ball not bounced into the seats after it hit right on the line. It's a ground rule double for Boog. So another big hit for the Orioles, and Paranowski pitching to Merv Retman, and it's high and it's 1 ball and no strikes. And the Minnesota Twins fans are filing out here as the Orioles have now taken a 6-3 lead. An opposite field 2-bagger by Boog. Driving a pair across. McNally scores. Belanger scores. And still with 1 away and 2 runners on in scoring position, the Twins infield is in, and Retman is at 1 ball and 1 strike. That ball was just fair down the left field line, and it bounced off of the screen and out of play for a ground rule double. Retman swinging, ground ball hit, right side. Robinson will score. Boog is holding at third base as Oliva comes up with the ball. And Merv Retman has singled in another run, and it is 7-3. And for the first time this year, the Orioles have scored runs off of Ron Paranowski, and I believe that's going to be all for the left-hander as Bill Rigney is coming out to talk to Paranowski. Retman single, plates Frank Robinson. Powell is at third base. So Belanger has scored. McNally has scored. Frank Robinson has scored. And the Orioles now have a 7-3 lead to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And they may have more with just 1 away. Rigney has made the call to the bullpen. So Paranowski will work an inning and a third. Tiant will be coming in. 5 hits off of Paranowski. He struck out 1. He walked 1. And he gives up 3 runs and is responsible to Boog Powell at third base and Merv Retmond at first base. Well, the Orioles all season long and during the regular season, in 7 relief appearances by Paranowski, they were not able to touch him for a run. And yesterday, as he pitched a perfect inning in relief. And now, today, Paranowski, after coming in the 8th inning, is driven from the pitcher's mound in the 9th. McNally opened it with a double, his second hit of the game. Moved to third, and a Mark Belanger single to right field, and it was Belanger's 3rd hit of the game. Blair struck out, and with 1 away and runners at first and third, Frank Robinson drew a walk to load the bases. Boog Powell with his 3rd hit of the contest. A double down the left field line and just in fair territory. The ball bounced away to an out-of-play area, and Boog with a bases-loaded ground rule double scored McNally and Belanger to put the Birds ahead 6-3. And Rettenman followed with a ground ball base hit to right field, driving home Frank Robinson and sending Boog Powell to third base. And now Tiant is coming in to try to put out the Oriole rally in the 9th inning. And Dave Johnson to the on-deck circle, and the first batter that Tiant will face will be Brooks Robinson. And Brooks will be the 7th man to bat in this inning. Now, this is Tiant's first appearance of the year against the Orioles. He has been bothered by an arm problem almost all season long. He had a great start for the Twins. Coming over from the Cleveland Indians to the Minnesota Twins, Tiant opened the year with 6 straight wins. He now has a 7-win, 3-loss record in the regular season, pitching in just 18 games, 92 2/3 innings. He was the starting pitcher for Minnesota in their Wednesday afternoon game against the Kansas City Royals in a regular season contest, and that was his first appearance since mid-June when he was placed on the disabled list with the arm problem. So in the top of the 9th, with 3 runs in and a 7-3 Oriole lead, Tiant is ready to pitch now to Brooks Robinson, with Boog at third base and Retmond at first. Powell, with 3 hits in the game, now has 5 in this series. Here's the sent by Louis Tiant. And the pitch. Brooks swinging and a foul. Out of play. Strike 1 back behind home plate. Now the Orioles hoping to take their 2nd straight win here at the Met in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities. They won yesterday 10-6. They lead now 7-3. The sent by Tiant. Checks the runners. There goes Rettenman. The pitch is outside. Mitterwald to second base, and safe with a stolen base is Rettenman. Well, Merv with a slide to the outfield side of second, and escaping a sweep tag by Leo Cardinis, who was covering on the play. And Rettenman moves into scoring position with a stolen base. The pitch was a ball to Robinson to Brooks, and it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Tiant will work from a full line with runners at second and third. Brooks, the batter, at 1 ball and 1 strike. Infield is in now with just 1 away. The pitch is high, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. So the Birds have erupted for 3 here in the 9th. They have increased that 1-run lead to a 4-run margin of 7-3. Tiant is ready with a 2-1 delivery. Foul, back out of play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Boog Powell at third base. Merv Retmond at second. First base is open with 1 down. Here's the wind by Tiant. And the 2-ball, 2-strike delivery to Brooks Robinson. Ground ball, deep short, gloved by Cardinis. He's coming to the plate, and Powell is safe at the plate as Cardinis' throw was off the mark at home plate. Boog moving to his left as Mitterwald was moving to his right. And Boog just stepping across the plate as Mitterwald tried to come back and make a tag. It's a fielder's choice play and an RBI for Brooks Robinson. Now 8-3. check and see if there's an error play, and Dave Johnson will be the batter. Before Johnson bats, let's pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Jim West talking about the Jones Boy. Bob Jones, that is, with music and friendly chatter, evenings on Radio 11, WBAL Baltimore.
Now, Brooks Robinson does not get an RBI as Cardinis has been charged with an error on his throw to Mitterwald at the plate. It's the second Twins error of the game. So Brooks does not get an RBI, but Boog Powell scores the Birds' fourth run of this inning and eighth of the game. They now have a 5-run lead going to the bottom of the ninth inning. Redmond is at third base, and Brooks is at first base, and Johnson batting at 1 ball and no strikes. Tian is ready. Here's his pitch. A pine inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Well, this has been a very long but very productive inning for the Orioles in the top of the ninth. They're hoping to increase their lead by at least a 1 run with an insurance marker in the ninth, but they have added 4 already, and still with just 1 away, Redmond is at third and Brooks at first. So the sent by Tian on the pitch. Johnson swinging in a fly ball to deep left field. Home run, Dave Johnson, and the Orioles now lead it 11-3. Dave Johnson with a line drive homer off of Louis Tiant to the left field bleacher seats with Redmond and Brooks Robinson scoring in front, and the Orioles now have an 8-run lead in this ball game, 11-3. And many of the Twins fans here today are now leaving. A 363-foot home run by Dave Johnson. Second of the game for the Orioles, and the fourth in this game. The Twins have 2. Now Andy Etchebarren, the 9th man to bat in this inning. Swing and a miss for a strike, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Dave Johnson is homered. And the Birds have now scored 7 runs in this 9th inning. Here's a high pop-up in the infield. Cardinis backtracking a couple of feet to the grass. He's waiting. He's got it. And Etchebarren is retired for the second out here in the 9th inning. Now McNally will bat. And this is the second time for McNally to the plate here in the 9th inning. Dave Johnson. 3-run homer. The Birds are batting McNally for the second time in this inning. Tian high with a breaking pitch. On the outside corner with a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 of the 7 runs in this inning are charged to Tian, who is now pitching. The other 5 have been charged to Paranowski. Pitch is low, and it gets away from Mitterwald, and it is 2 balls and 1 strike. So the Twins, in anticipation of going to the bottom of the ninth, trailing by a run and hoping to either catch or win the game over the Orioles, now find themselves trailing by 8 runs, 11-3. Dick Woodson in the bullpen. High pop, shortstop Cardinis. He's in the cut of the infield. Waiting, he's got it, and the Oriole ninth is over. They bat 10 men and score 8 runs. And the highlight of the inning is a bases-loaded double by Boog Powell and a 3-run homer by Dave Johnson. Nobody left. And after 8.5 innings of play, Baltimore 11, Minnesota 3.
Falls in time, good things happen, womankind. Summer raindrops left behind, schools in session, time for fun, time for taking number 1. Take number 1 with you. Bank America. Take number 1 with you. Bank America.
It's an unpredictable time of year, fall. You turn a corner and there's back to school. Turn another and there's a sale going on. For the expected and the unexpected, take number 1 with you.
Take number 1 with you. Bank America. Take number 1 with you. Bank America. Frozen time.
Well, McNally and the Orioles just 3 outs away from sweeping the two-game series here at the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota, and just one victory away from taking the American League pennant for the second straight year. McNally will face Rick Renick, Danny Thompson, and a pinch hitter, I'm sure, for Tiant here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Strike one, no balls and one strike. A 7-run ninth inning. The Orioles have had 2 7-run innings in the first 2 games in the American League Championship Series. Yesterday, they scored 7 in the 4th inning. Ground ball hit up the middle for Renick. Number 6 in the game off of McNally. Renick is on with a leadoff single here in the bottom of the ninth inning. But the Twins are so far away from getting back into this ball game, trailing by 8 runs. Danny Thompson will be the hitter, and Quillisi will follow Thompson to the plate. Thompson, a right-handed hitting second baseman, 0 for 3 in the game. Renick not being held at first by Powell, and a strike in, no balls and one strike. Boog Powell's bases loaded double, bringing the Birds from a 4-3 lead to a 6-3 lead. It scored a pair. Here's a ground ball past McNally. Johnson to Belanger, 1, relay to first, double play, and there are 2 away here in the bottom of the ninth inning. So the Birds turn one over on a 4-6-3 twin kill. Renick is retired at second, Thompson at first, and here is Quillisi. Came in yesterday's game, filling in at second base, and in one plate appearance, applied to center fielder Paul Blair. He's 0 for 1. So McNally now just an out away, and the Birds 1 out away from taking the second game of this best 3 out of 5 series. A foul out of play, strike 1, no balls and 1 strike. 0-1 the count to Quillisi, pinch batting for Louis Tiant. Strike 2 on the inside corner at the knees, no balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles have led all the way in this game. The Twins caught up 4-3, but a big 7-run ninth inning with 10 men batting. High pop on the right side, playable for Boog Powell, now in foul territory. He's got it, and the Orioles win the game as Boog Powell juggled that pop-up, and it came right off of his hat and nose and into his glove again for the out. So Quillisi is retired, and that's it. The Orioles win it 11-3, and we'll be back with today's game totals after this message.
Hey, did Walter call yet?
No, Walter didn't call.
I wonder what's wrong with him.
I don't know. What do you want to do tonight, Liz?
Ha.
I know, but what else do you want to do?
How about fixing dinner and watching reruns for a change?
We do that every night. Hey, I've got it. Let's go out and eat.
Where?
How about the International House of Fried Shrimp?
I don't have any money.
It doesn't cost much.
Where?
The International House of Fried Shrimp. Great place. They have delicious fried shrimp and crisp French fries and sliced tomatoes.
Oh, well, where is it?
Oh, just down a couple of blocks. The big A-frame place with the blue roof, you know.
Oh, that's the International House of Pancakes.
No, it's the International House of Fried Shrimp. They've got delicious fish and chips, too.
Okay, fine. How do you know about it?
Oh, I went there last night with Walter. Who? Ralph.
Oh?
Next time you don't feel like cooking, join us at the International House of Fried Shrimp. You'll find the nearest one to you in the phone book under an assumed name.
International House of Pancakes.
It may say pancakes on the outside, but there's lots more on the inside.
Well, Boog Powell juggled that pop-up in foul territory off the bat of Quillisi. He caught it, and then it popped right out of his glove. And then he balanced the ball off the lid of his cap and beak of his nose before he again clinched the ball into his glove for the final out of the game. And Dave McNally and the Orioles have defeated the Twins here by an 11-3 score. And this ball game, with its tense-filled moments until the top of the ninth, nobody would have ever guessed that it would finish like this. With a score of 4-3, and the Orioles about to break it open in the 5th inning with the bases loaded and nobody out, Stan Williams came on with a brilliant relief pitching performance and retired. Brooks Robinson and a foul pop to Mitterwald. Dave Johnson on a shallow fly ball to Tony Oliva in right field. And Andy Etchebarren on a strikeout to hold the Orioles without scoring in that top of the 5th inning. And the score remained 4-3. In the bottom of the 5th, the Twins were about to tie it when Williams opened the inning with a walk, moved to second on a hit by Tovar, and then tried to score on a bouncing base hit past Brooks Robinson to left field. But Merv Retman's perfect throw to Echeverren cut him down for the second out of that inning, and then McNally retired Killebrew on a pop-up in the infield to stop a Twins threat, and the score was still 4-3. We went to the 6th when the Twins left a runner on, the 7th when they left another on, and the 8th when they left another on. And we went to that 9th inning 4-3, and then the balloon just burst for Ron Paranowski and the Twins as 7 runs scored, 10 men batted, and it was highlighted by a bases-loaded double by Boog Powell and a 3-run home run by Dave Johnson. Chuck Thompson is with us, and Chuck, as I just mentioned, I don't think anybody ever expected an 11-3 final score in this second game.
I'm certain that no one did, and I also think, John, that hardly anyone expected the treatment that Ron Paranowski got this afternoon. And this will be one of the big stories of the ball game, along with the outstanding pitching of Dave McNally and the good hitting of the Orioles this afternoon. The Paranowski incident will certainly get a lot of print and a lot of coverage around the country, and it occurred before the Orioles came on the top of the 8th inning. And as you noted, John, between innings, Earl Weaver spoke to plate umpire Bill Haller. And it was plate umpire Haller who went to Paranowski, looked first at the baseball, looked at his hands, sent him to the dugout, made him wash his hands. And after he cleaned up, came back out to face the Orioles, they treated him as rudely as Paranowski has ever been treated by an Oriole ball club that hadn't scored on him in, 17 1/3 innings this year. And it finally wound up with Paranowski being hung with an inning and a third, 5 hits, and 5 runs. Now, that will be the story that will share the billing with Dave McNally, I'm certain.
Chuck, there's no better way to go back to Baltimore than with a 2-game lead, and that's just exactly what the Orioles are doing. They'll try to wrap it up tomorrow with Palmer going against maybe Blyleven, possibly Cott. Rigney may change his pitching probables for tomorrow's ball game. We'll have to wait and see, but it's a 2-0 lead.
I wonder what kind of an explanation Boog Powell will have for everybody on his magnificent catch of that foul pop here in the 9th inning off the bat of Quillisi that ended the ball game. He played volleyball with that for, it seemed like 2 minutes, John, before he finally trapped it around the belt somewhere and squeezed it for the final out. But I'm sure Boog will have a logical, plausible explanation.
Wasn't McNally's pitching performance really something here? I mean, he's such a gutsy pitcher, intense situation, and he just really pitched himself out of not major jams, but semi-jams in that 7th, 8th, 9th innings, or 6th, 7th, and 8th innings when a runner was on, maybe in scoring position, but he just bore down and really came out of it and did not give up that run to tie the game.
I think the way most people, the younger people today would explain it, would say that Dave certainly did not lose his cool, and he was a very cool and a very determined left-hander this afternoon and pitched in fine fashion against a very tough ball club. Not tough, they're tough anywhere, but I think they are particularly tough here at the Met. And this is a hitter's ballpark, and a pitcher can come out of here wondering what happened to him, as we saw yesterday with a couple of fine pitchers in Perry and Cuellar, who were rudely treated. This afternoon, McNally was just too much of a left-hander for the Minnesota Twins, and I'll bet you, John, I'll just bet you that he'll talk to you more about the 2 base hits than about the pitching.
Chuck, we'll look forward to that ball game tomorrow at Memorial Stadium, game number 3 of this best 3 out of 5 series, as the Orioles sweep a pair here at the Met in Minnesota, taking game number 1 10-6, and game number 2 here today by a score of 11-3. And repeating that Cincinnati has won a pair from Pittsburgh in the Eastern Division of the National League as they defeated the Pirates twice. Yesterday 3-0, and today 3-1. This program was brought to you by authority of the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Club under rights purchased by Dennis Dunn Incorporated. Any rebroadcast or other use of this play-by-play description without written consent is prohibited. The next Oriole Championship playoff game will be tomorrow at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium, and airtime will be at 12:55. Our engineer has been Ken Kimball. This is John Gordon, along with Chuck Thompson and for Bill O'Donnell, saying so long from Metropolitan Stadium in the Twin Cities. And once again, the final score in game number 2, Baltimore 11 and Minnesota 3. This has been a DDI Network Sports presentation.